And I thank you for the opportunity for allowing us to present, let you know what's been going on there. It's been a busy year, so let's talk about. I did also want to acknowledge that I've got our board here, Kathy Fitton, who is completing 3 consecutive terms. We miss her greatly, so I want to thank her for being here, and Yvette Moore, who is an outgoing member, and again, thank you for your time. Okay, so this is my third presentation of a budget. So I'm really excited to share with you that we've had lots of changes over the few years that I've been here. We've really focused on bringing in professional trades to do the work for the building, for the grounds, making sure that they are WCB certified and professionals in what they did. That was something that I thought was lacking. Reducing redundancies, increasing our marketing, and decreasing our environmental impact. Statistics and projections are a little bit more difficult to acquire in tourism Saskatchewan, as they lumped us into rural about 2 years ago. But with a little time and effort, I can get them to work with me, and they have provided me with a bit of information. And in fact, I'll just tell you the one stat that I just received, which I was really excited about, was the year-to-date hotel occupancy rate in the province was 57%, which was actually up. We started with 61%, so that's really impressive. Tourism stats haven't really been updated for our area. We still base it on $180 average spend per person per day. Our general statistics that we work from is between 400 to 450,000 tourists a year. That's not far off of what Regina and Saskatoon gets, so pretty far aside is pretty incredible. That translates to a minimum average of about $72 million into our economy every year. Many downtown businesses tell us that they rely on tourists to keep the doors open. On average, people I've spoken to, about 40 to 50% of our downtown retail businesses state that 70 to 80% of their business comes directly from tourism. That's a lot of doors that will close if we didn't have these numbers. While Canada has experienced growth in tourism, much of that thanks to the very direct marketing to China that Tourism Canada has done. They highlight large centers, so that's Vancouver and Calgary and Toronto. A lot of smaller areas have actually experienced quite a bit of decrease in the numbers. Personally, I was bracing for a little bit of a decrease here last December. Then things changed. In fact, what we did experience was a growth year. 2018, we did have a lower number through our office, which is not necessarily indicative of the whole city. We usually think about 1 out of every 8 people that comes through our office is represented in the city, generally speaking. But because the problem was down, we did experience a huge decrease in people for our office from middle of July on. And some businesses did reflect that they had a decrease in some business during that time, which just reiterated why it's important for us to get probably back up and running. We've seen tremendous increase in growth in our website, which was updated in 2017. We've had about 80 to 90,000 visitors per year on our website. We're getting just shy of 200,000 now. So that's a huge change. It's not mobile friendly before, but it's a huge change. I mean, we're also looking as a way to increase our potential e-commerce. We get lots of requests for things like, can you send us a postcard or things like that. As well as it's been an excellent opportunity to grow our trolley sales online. It's a great key for us. The impact to our business is obvious. When the trolley didn't run last year, we were told by 5 businesses specifically that they did notice a very market decrease in their sales. We didn't like to do that. As far as total revenue, this is memberships, ad revenue, trolley, sales, merchandise, sidewalk days, donations, funding. We have seen an increase. Again, last year was a bit of a decrease, which we did notice, mostly because of the trolley sales. But I did want you to look at the size of the dot is specific to trolley sales. So we had a pretty dark video this year for that. Expenses this year did increase. A lot of that for us for the trolley needed major work, so that took some cash, as well as some parts of the building that needed some upgrading and some continued improvement. So the size of the dot this time is representative of building costs, which you will see in 2019 we have been able to decrease them primarily through LED lights almost throughout the building. So there are a few more to do, which things like voice over internet protocol for our phone and different things like that. Just cutting costs that really are not necessary to be spending. The increased costs really come from merchandise, which we had prepped for this year after our giant January gift of marketing, increased marketing, and the trolley costs are our biggest ones in the last 2 years. We do have further plans to switch the back office to LED, and I would love to look at potential solar panel investment. We are an ideal location for something like that. So talks for the future. We are a member-driven organization, and our numbers have been steadily increasing. Any drop-off, for the most part, that we receive is typically due to business closure. Having said that, we know there's probably about 250 to 300 businesses that should be tourism members, so I still have to look out. So I want to talk about where the money that the city provides us for fee-for-service goes. So this is just reflecting the $91,152 that we received in 2019. The primary focus of that, 77% of it is going towards building costs and a person to keep those doors open. The other parts that I included in there, again, these could probably be, moved around or changed a little bit, but were my wage, about 20% of that, and then about 25% of our overall marketing costs, since that is a huge directive that was in our fee service. So, challenges, victories, outlook. This is one that I was really excited to do. As much as I have no problem talking about tourism, it's not always really easy for me to sit back and say what's gone really well. I tend to find a problem, fix it. That's what I'm good at. So, challenges was easy. We've got global and local competition. Things are ever quickly changing with the internet and how people search their trips. It's really important that Moose Jaw as a whole, not just tourism, Moose Jaw, presents an excellent face forward when it comes to the internet. Economic growth. New activities is important. It's really great that people come for the spa and they come for the tunnels and some of the activities we have. We need some bigger draws that are continually being added to our landscape so that people want to come back. Aging building, it needs some work. Painting inside and out. The heating system has been a consistent problem. Septic and sewer system is aging and is proving costly. Aging trolley has ongoing work. We've got some great advances coming up. Technological advances. I would love to have a professional app, and we looked at some opportunities for this last quality. We put it on hold just because of the other stuff that came up this year, but that's something I'd really like to push. Increased costs, I mean, everything goes up, right? You've got building costs, utilities, daily operation wages, and then the changes in tourist parking rules is something I would like to talk about because that is one of the assets that we provide that has been extremely welcome. The two biggest complaints that I ever received out of the city are speeding parking tickets. So if there's anything to further that conversation, I would love to hear that. Some of our victories. So we did have a giant year with Maximus. We have vast changes in implementing policies where none existed before. So we created code of ethics, conflict of interest for board members, OHS policies, harassment policies, putting on manuals for employees, and then we're also working on purchasing policies and setting vendor limits, which from our very first official audit, because our revenue increased, were the two suggestions that they came up with. But times have changed, and so we felt it was really important when I came in to get the times, and we've had all these things done within a year and a half that I was started. Reducing waste in all areas. We've created streamlined workflow and job descriptions so people know what their duties are, and there's very little overlap. More than 60% of the lights have been switched to LED. Increased recycling and reusing in our office. Working to feature whatever local product we can. Just a prime example, we used to order most of our clothing when I started from a company in Regina. So we've reduced our costs for shipping, which is great, but the best part is it's one less transit from time in the shop, environment, those things like that.
1 minute left.
Pardon me?
Well, 1 minute left.
Okay. Okay. No worries. Okay, so we brought in Sidewalk Days and Canada Days, so those are two huge things that we've done. The Maximus campaign was massive for us. It ended up raising enough money for us to start a seed fund for his lifelong care and a rebuilding fund when that gets going. I created, and my office has created a lot of buzz about tourism in Moose Jaw. Some of this definitely was from Maximus, but even before that, we did not shirk an opportunity to talk about Moose Jaw, and anytime we had a chance, we did it. The trolley has been outstanding this year. We were up by 48% from our best year before. We've made multiple lists, including coolest downtowns and quirkiest communities and all sorts of different things. We were the successful anchor of the notorious campaign. Businesses bought in from one side of Moose Jaw to the other. Ones that we had our biggest naysayers at the beginning are some of our biggest brand ambassadors. It's amazing. Outlook is very positive. I think that, growing partnerships in order for Moose Jaw to continue. My mom always said you can go by yourself, go faster, you can go real far with others, and that's something that I take very seriously. Keys to success, we need to bring in more visitors. Look at efficient funding models, possibly looking at more partnerships with the city versus increased funding. Looking at more partnerships within the city, targeted services for our visitors, what they're looking for, and more products to satisfy those needs. And I just wanted to take the time to thank you guys. If you haven't liked it or followed any of our pages, please do. It is one of our absolute most cost-effective and efficient ways of marketing Moose Jaw. And I look forward to 2020. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions? Councilor Swanson.
Thank you. I was going through the budget up here, and I was having some real trouble with the math. Just a lot of places it doesn't add up.
Oh.
We could start like on the first page, revenues. You listed there.
See that? Okay.
The section total non-grant revenue. You have 45,000 for the total.
Okay, sorry, you're looking at 2020, 2019.
I'm looking at the 2019
Oh,
actual.
sorry, my apologies. Okay.
The bottom line is 45,272.
I've got 119, so I must have said something like this. Total non-grant.
I've got 45,272. And what would you have as your total revenues and that 175?
I don't know where that would come from, honestly. I got 349, 734. So I'm got something up with the sent an error or lost in translation because that's never number I've never seen. So.
And just with respect to the building,
Mm-hmm.
or first with the trolley, maybe I got a different set of pages too, because I have the 2019 trolley fuel was 0. And the trolley insurance was 0.
You know what, I really apologize, I don't know what happened. This is the only file I've got that works. I have no idea where that would come from. This is the same budget I've used for the whole year. So I will look into that and resend it. I'm so sorry, I don't know where that would happen.
Okay, so maybe we could just ask for an updated copy of.
Absolutely, I will send it out. As soon as I do, because like I said, it's breaking, this is the only one I've ever used, I have no other. Thank you.
Councilor Swanson. So seeing other speakers, I had a couple questions, just passed down and yeah, that's okay. Yeah, appreciate your presentation. You had to kind of spend through a few of the things because of time, so that's fine. He's how we can get kind of questions. But one of the victories was around the downtown. I forget what exactly it said, but I'd be interested to learn more about the downtown victories that you guys talked about.
Yeah, so we made several lists over the last 3 years since I've been here, and one of my favorite ones was the Expedia's coolest downtowns in all of Canada. And I mean, we beat out places like Quebec City and Nanaimo and Victoria. So it was one of our favorite ones. We got a lot of traction out of that, and a lot. They make Expedia one of the most reputable names out there. So we made 3 of them in about 18 months. One of them was MSN, and that was for Cortez downtowns, and then they compared us. They said if you can't afford a Hungarian or Turkish bath, go to. So it was pretty cool.
perfect, thank you. I'm just looking at the, and then, so I guess in light of that, we may have just gotten I guess, a different copy of the budget. I just want to be sure, so you're asking for 91,152 for tourism of Blue Shaw, and then 2,484 for Canada Day Committee, is that?
So that 91 number, that was for 2019, this year, I'm asking for 92,976.
92, sorry, 92,
92,976.
976. And then 2,484 for the Canada Day. Okay, so yeah, I guess if you can just forward that, I guess,
Absolutely.
copy for administration.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Do I send that directly to council?
No, I think you work through the administration. Okay, so I'm seeing no other speakers, so thank you very much for your presentation, appreciate it.
I've got to stick around for a minute.
Okay. So, seeing no other speakers, so we will move on to the next delegation. And that would be the Festival of Words. Oh, sorry. Pardon me? Oh, sorry, I apologize.
That's
My
okay.
apologies.
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, I guess I was thinking they were the same one, but, okay,
Great, okay, this is short and sweet, I promise. In late 2017, I was approached, and I don't mind naming it out there, Crystal, by Council Crystal Pros, that the Canada Day Committee had disbanded, kind of quietly, and so she said, would you be interested in taking some of tourism Blue Shaw's banner? I very clearly saw this as an opportunity for another tourism event. A lot of smaller towns don't do a lot. I saw that this could be a really good opportunity to show Blue Shaw and how it shines one more time. So we took it over 2 years ago. We put a call out for volunteers for a committee. We received one person, which is not atypical out there, but we were very able to take it in-house and use it as a volunteer opportunity for our staff. We were able to use a little bit of time. This was not a difficult event to run. So we were able to use a little bit of time in the office, but for the most part it was volunteer. And we were able to use our partners that we had before from Sidewalk Days and raise the money with a lot of effort through the community. Last year, it was an excellent suggestion. We went through Blue Shaw Kinsman, who did see that since kids are a huge priority for them, that this was an excellent opportunity for them to join with us. We referred to that as the opportunity for 2020, but we're sincerely hoping so. So as you can see, most of the funding has come from donations. We do receive the stipend from the city of Blue Shaw. The understanding I had, it was basically to cover the insurance for fireworks, and it's a pretty close call, a few administrative things that we're able to help us out with. In the future, I would really like to increase the federal funding. They in fact decreased it on us after the 2017 Olympics. Since noticed a very significant decrease from 5,000 to 5,600. So just a breakdown of where the expenses came up. Sorry, 2020 was supposed to be the same. So we spent about $4,900 on programming, miscellaneous, which is basically your advertising, printing costs, meeting costs, the volunteer wrap up, was $1,900. And working with Paradise Fireworks, they gave us a really great deal, and we were able to make a really good show this year for $10,500. Typically, you're looking at about $1,000 per minute if you're to bring in somebody new, but with the partnership we've had with them this many years. They gave us about 14 to 15 minute outstanding program this year. People were very happy, which is not often the case with fireworks. People are often sitting to. The community event itself is something we wanted to focus on, having a little more hands-on. I've always felt it was a very unattended event. There's some great things going on. So we worked with local businesses and the Kinsman Club, which did increase our networking opportunities and brought more interest to it. We were focused our efforts on creating an old school hands-on day. So we had what's called a living library down in Crescent Park, and various organizations would set up demos so that people, try before you buy, try judo, try gymnastics, different things like that. Huge hit. We know that this year over 3,000 people attended this year's festivities. I think that's an incredibly conservative number. We were able to add more funds to make the fireworks memorable this year because of the competition in Canada. Some of the challenges are maintaining consistent committee members. We were able to bring in 2 from outside based on some of our connections that we had. So we've got a committee of 3 this year. Now, we don't want to become the same old. I think that being different was one of the reasons lots of people attended. Funding is always an ongoing concern. We'd like to ensure major sponsor again. And while we don't need many, volunteers in the summer is a challenge. So we look forward to kind of the 2020, as 2019 was an incredible success, and I hope and anticipate more to see.
Thank you very much. Any other questions? It's none, so thank you very much. Sorry to cut you off last time.
Oh, no, I really thought.
This is new for us too.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next delegation in the queue is the Festival Work. Does anybody know? Okay, please state, did you have a presentation?
Yes.
Okay, so just once I say go, please say your name and then you have 10 minutes to do that.
Hello, my name is Sarah Simmons and I'm the Executive Director of the Saskatchewan Festival of Words. I'd like to thank all of you for inviting us here today. This is our first presentation in at least 10 years. The Saskatchewan Festival of Words is a 24-year-old registered charity and nonprofit organization founded right here in Moose Jaw by local poet and teacher Gary Highland. We are governed by a board of directors who oversee my role as Executive Director. Board Chair Melanie McFarland is here with me tonight. And I manage our only other staff person, Operations Coordinator Amanda Parnell. We work with several volunteer program committees included in our dedicated team of 150 volunteers. The main focus of our operations is to host the Summer Festival, which sees more than 60 events taking place over 4 days in and around the historic downtown core. Programming includes readings, interviews, workshops for adults and children, panel discussions, film, dramatic theater, literary trivia, slam poetry, and even a concert. Over the course of the festival, we fill approximately 3,000 seats and bring in around 30 authors and artists from across Canada. Our largest attendee demographic is seniors, with the majority coming from outside of Moose Jaw. Attendees mainly travel here from other areas of Saskatchewan, as well as Alberta and Manitoba, but we have many regulars that come in from as far away as Ontario and British Columbia. People often plan holidays around it and even book their hotel reservations for the next year as they're checking out. Festival staff have been invited to speak at several national and provincial conferences due to the groundbreaking work we're doing in our industry in terms of diversity and inclusion. We believe this is why we've seen a surge in new attendees over the last couple of years, and it also represents a younger demographic. Your festival has also gained a national reputation for high-quality, thought-provoking programming with an excellent organizational process and friendly participants. But our festival is also more attractive and intriguing as we're situated in a community with lots of character and a notorious name. In keeping with our charitable purpose, we offer free tickets to partners in the community, such as the Kinsman Inclusion Center and Diversified Services. Additionally, we offer patron passes, where someone who can afford to can buy a pass and pay it forward. In addition to the Summer Festival, we have a wide range of community outreach programs and services. Leading up to the Summer Festival, we host the Teen Writing Experience. This program brings a professional published author in to instruct 10 to 20 students per year in an intensive week-long writing workshop, ending in a dedicated event on stage at the festival itself. Sponsors are found for each student, so no child is left out due to an inability to pay. Our Cinnamon Film Series shows 8 to 10 independent foreign films per year that are brought into the Toronto International Film Festival. Close to 1,000 people attend per year, and its popularity continues to rise. Screenings take place at the Galaxy Cinema, but we're hoping to move the program to the Nicholson Theatre for fall 2020 once they purchase and install their DCP digital projector. Performers Cafe is a free open mic night that takes place at Mixed Street Cafe. Approximately 100 local artists perform each year in front of 500 attendees and see 10 headlining acts representing emerging artists from our area. Some of the programs we're the proudest of, though, is our Writers in Schools program and our Battle of the Book partnership. These two programs reach 2,500 students per year in schools throughout the city of Moose Jaw, as well as rural communities across southern Saskatchewan. When we implemented the programs in 2016, it equated to a 4,000% increase in youth programming for us. Battle of the Books works with Holy Trinity School Division and sees hundreds of children reading books, forming teams, and coming together for a huge trivia competition. Our Writers in Schools program brings in professional writers representing a full spectrum of genres and disciplines to do workshops in classrooms. Workshops focus on creative writing, performance skills, and editing, and while encouraging healthy creative outlets to express oneself. Our authors have even done professional development workshops with the teachers to help them better teach creative writing in the classroom. After one of our writers visited his classroom, one Moose Jaw teacher stated, quote, disengaged writers wrote, reluctant speakers spoke, and students who were facing tough personal times found a voice, a vehicle to truly express themselves. Not only do I think this program is valuable, I think it is necessary, end quote. I would like to point out that these school programs are provided at no cost to the schools. The festival covers them 100%. Demand is also so high that we could probably triple the number of weeks that we run it, but we're limited due to funding and human resources constraints. LitCon is another one of our community outreach programs with a focus on authors and writers that are published by smaller independent presses or those that are self-published. Writers have been coming to Moose Jaw from across the province to participate in a full day of panels, networking, book sales, and workshops. We're looking at marketing the 2020 program as a retreat at Wood Acres. Finally, we also host an annual volunteer dinner and AGM in June, a holiday open house in November, and an official festival launch event in April, as well as numerous one-off and partnership events throughout the year. Our summer festival and year-round programs definitely act as a showcase of our impressive city buildings. The festival office is located within the Moose Jaw Cultural Center, and we use our conference room and lobby areas for workshops and events, as well as one of the gems of our city, the Maple Theater. The majority of our summer festival also takes place throughout the Library Art Museum complex, including authors reading within the gallery exhibition. We essentially take over the entire complex for our summer festival, and our partners of all these organizations continue to be wonderful to work with. They don't just step back and let us use their space. They're active partners and participants in our programs. Additionally, we host two major festival events, our opening gala and our full day of programming on the final day of the festival at the Conference Center at Mosaic Place. And of course, throughout the festival, Crescent Park is bustling with chatty attendees enjoying some downtime with nature. Everything we do as an organization has been built to benefit our community through enhancing literacy and encouraging lifelong learning. Our organizational vision is that by offering exceptional literary events at an annual festival, the Saskatchewan Festival of Words adds to the economic and social fabric of Moose Jaw, and in doing so is recognized as an essential part of the cultural mosaic of Saskatchewan. We aim to connect with Moose Jaw residents, but also work to attract visitors from across the nation. We want to foster pride in the exceptional work being produced by Canadian authors and artists, including not only those from Saskatchewan, but those right here in Moose Jaw. The festival's philosophy is to be an inclusive community building organization. So one of the best ways for us to do this work is through community partnerships. Additional partnerships include Moose Jaw Public Library Book Club, Performance Cafe Pride Week Edition, sponsorship of a storyteller for National Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations led by the Waccamaw Aboriginal Community Association, Francophone programming with the ACF to feature French programming and artists at the Summer Festival in Sinaview and at Performers Cafe, and also the Multicultural Council and Newcomer Welcome Center, where the festival spearheaded the Involve program, connecting newcomers with local nonprofit organizations for mentorships for high-level volunteer positions. Additionally, the festival supports the local economy extensively with Summer Festival pass holders alone, so this is just our full pass holders of the festival, spending $60,000 locally. All of our authors and artists stay at the spa, attendees fill the Grand Hall Hotel, and other venues for the festival include Bobby's Place Pub and the Cosmos Senior Center. The Summer Festival and our community outreach programs contribute to the cultural fabric of the community and help make Moose Jaw an attractive place to live. I've had more than one person at the festival tell us that we're part of the reason they decided to move here. One of the questions in the letter we received regarding tonight's presentation is what our budget request is for the city for 2020. In my 10 years with the Saskatchewan Festival of Words, we have never asked the city for an increase in funding. Like all other organizations here tonight, we are providing important programs and services to the community, which all contribute to the health and well-being of its citizens. As nonprofits, we're all working on limited budgets with minimal staffing. This work is hard, but it's vital. I think we would all love to see an increase in funding, but we understand there are always constraints. We're hoping to see the city maintain its current level of funding for the festival for the upcoming year with the approximate 2% increase we traditionally see. We received line item funding from the city in 2019 totaling $7,713, with approximately $4,000 additional funding coming through the city's community grant program. The festival operates on a balanced budget annually and is operated with zero debt. Each year, our budget fluctuates between $250,000 and $300,000 depending on available grant money and fundraising levels and of course the economic climate. Municipal funding accounts for approximately 5% of our annual revenue. This is a combination of line item and community grants. In the big picture, 5% might not seem like a lot, but it makes a huge impact on our programs and services and in turn our community. For example, without line item funding from the city, we wouldn't be able to run our LitCom program at all. 5% represents almost 2 years worth of our Performers Cafe program, an entire year of our writers in schools, and approximately 5 author appearances at the festival. Program planning is already well underway for 2020. We have 6 authors confirmed so far for the 2020 festival, with the lineup generally complete by January or February of each year. Our next author for Writers in Schools is confirmed for spring 2020, and our Performers Cafe and Synergy committees are already making selections for their new season starting in January. Current challenges the festival faces are first and foremost human resources. With only 2 full-time staff, we have to limit some of the programming we do in the community, and we have to be highly cognizant of signs of staff burnout, a condition common with nonprofit and event planning organizations. We hope to secure enough funding in the future to hire a permanent admin assistant. Also, in the 2018-19 fiscal year, we faced a rare deficit that had to be covered by a modest savings account. This was due to increased costs to the festival for accessibility. In order to feature artists with disabilities, we incurred additional costs outside of our operational budget and could not find supplemental funding anywhere to assist us. These added costs included live captioning for those that are deaf and hard of hearing. We had to hire a company out of Toronto to do it. And we also had to cover the cost of specialized equipment rentals for authors with mobility issues. As for the future, our biggest focus right now is our upcoming 25th anniversary in 2021. We've asked our core funders for a slight increase in funding levels for that year to support added celebrations and add a few more special events. Planning for 2021 is well underway, so we hope to see all of you there to mark this important milestone with us. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Susan, for your presentation. Any questions? Councilor Crowell.
Just want to congratulate you since your recent Saskatchewan Winter Suit Award. Very well deserved. With all the programming that you do specifically for the school system, I'm wondering if there's a history of requests to either the school districts and what their response may have been for support.
You mean like specifically for the programming that we're doing in school, like what the requests have been?
Well, like have you asked them for funding and what has their response been?
We haven't asked them for funding recently. When the school system faced funding cuts from the provincial government a few years ago, that was right around the time that we were approaching them about the possibility of doing this programming, and their response was, we're very interested, but we don't have money to put towards this kind of programming. They said, maybe there's some sort of in-kind thing we can do, like they said, well, we have lots of space, so we need space for something, we have space. We haven't used any of the schools as a venue space yet, but we know it's there. We are lucky in the sense that we have found some project funding for the program, but again, we are limited in terms of we just need more human resources. We need more people in the office. But so what happens when we do our Writers in Schools program is we sort of pick the time of year. We put a call out to the schools, so we send it to the school boards, our contacts there, but also teachers that we know that have participated in the program or might be interested in the program. And you kind of have to pick and choose where they go and how many places you can send our offer. But, yeah, they reach hundreds and hundreds of students in 1 week a year, or 2 weeks a year, so, I don't know, did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
And I just wanted to compliment you again on work that you do. Since I've been back in the shot at the end every year, and it's really fabulous. And it's different from year to year, personal, but those issues that you have, are all very different. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Close. Councilor Swanson.
Thank you. Susan, you mentioned that 5% of the budget comes from the city, but you included the community grants which we get from the lotteries. And actually, if you strip those out, the actual grant from the city is 2.8% of your budget.
Yeah.
I commend you for the leverage that demonstrates. It's commendable. Could be a model for many others. And that doesn't include the spending that occurs from attendees, but just on the budget. The city's contribution of just under 3% does leverage a lot of other, particularly federal money. Thank you for that.
Thank you, yes, we appreciate municipal support, and I kind of did some research before I came to this, an aside, I guess, but I have an online group of other literary festival directors from across Canada that I meet with every year, and I just put a note out and I said, what do you guys get from your municipalities? And the range was really huge. I was trying to see where New Strathcona and it went from about 2% up to 25% for other literary festivals. I'm really proud of the work we do on a really relatively small budget.
Councilor Swanson. Seeing all the speakers, so I would just thank you for your presentation, and I do appreciate you bringing forward some of the very important things in the community. Because I wasn't aware of all of the range of things that programs that you guys are involved in, so I do appreciate you sharing that with us. Very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so the next application is to Cosmos Senior Citizen Association. So if we have any members from Cosmos Association, please come forward. Thank you. Please state your name, and you have 10 minutes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Tomei and council for having us here tonight. And all managers and you people and all the other presenters. My name is Robert Cobb. I'm the treasurer of the Cosmic Senior Center. Our president, Phil Smith, is with me as well. We trust that everybody has had an opportunity to review the information that we sent you, because we're a senior center, so I'm doing it old-fashioned. PowerPoint.
We did get the package, yes.
That's good. Okay, thanks. We hope that the message was conveyed and received regarding how proud we members of the Cosmos Senior Center are in providing the services to give to our community and surrounding areas. We're also proud of the revenue we bring into each job from all of the events that we put on. People who attend the weddings, etc., that we put on, use our hotels, our restaurants, the spa, and the retailers. In the past 10 months, we've hosted our facilities and programs for over 2,000 different individuals, and so that's everybody that comes to the weddings and everything else we have. As mentioned in the material received, we just asked to be treated with the same respect and consideration that the city of Moose Jaw treats their other subsidized complexes. Areas we thought the city of Moose Jaw might be able to aid in are building maintenance, windows, furnace replacements, garbage removal, salaries for our maintenance staff, building insurance, and all utilities. Receiving assistance with these items would enable the Cosmos Senior Citizen Center to maintain current programming with focus on increasing our contributions to the seniors in Moose Jaw and surrounding area. Now, the letter we received from Gary sort of 6 points that he would like us to talk on. The organizational structure, we have 8 board directors. We basically run everything in the center. We do a lot of the work with like the weddings, we do the security, we do the cleanup and that sort of thing. We have 3 part-time workers. We have a cook, we have the secretary who runs the office, and we have a janitorial person. These are all part-time people. We don't have any full-time staff. Okay, activities that we provide to our seniors hopefully will enhance their well-being with social, cultural, and physical pursuits. We provide cards such as canasta, bridge, whist, and cribbage, floor shuffleboard, pool, a monthly social dance, and weekly jam sessions, which bring out Moose Jaw's best jammers. And at times we've had 15 different performers up on the stage playing for the people who they dance at the jams as well. We also provide 4 barbecues a year, a fowl supper and a Christmas supper, a New Year's Eve celebration, and 2 craft and trade shows who are coordinated by one of our members who's 101 years old. She's still coordinating these arts and crafts sales. And the last one she put on was in September, and there were 70 tables of presenters. So she brings them in. Okay, as for sort of our mission statement, I guess you could call it, Ron Anderson, the son of J.B. Anderson, Andy Anderson, who was instrumental in building the facility, dropped by last week and shared with us what his dad's vision was for Cosmos Senior Center. And that was to ensure seniors of Moose Jaw and the surrounding area had a facility to come to in order to maintain a full life, enhancing their well-being with social, cultural, and physical pursuits, and that no person would ever be turned away because they couldn't afford the activities. And an example of that, we have a gentleman who really enjoys playing bridge, but he really doesn't have a whole lot of money. And we don't charge much, we only charge $2 to play. But he really can't afford the $2, so we basically let him play anyway, even though he doesn't or can't afford it. Because basically, I'm sure that's about the only activities that he gets to, to interact with other people and to have some enjoyment as well. Okay, the second thing that we're asked to comment on was the summary of the contractual agreements with the city. And this is one, I think, of the main reasons that Cosmo is now scratching to keep the doors open. Okay, the first one is utilities. To pay any and all charges, including penalties and interest for telephone, water, gas, electricity, and other utilities that are supplied to the property. Then on page 4, operations and maintenance, to operate and maintain property with all improvements located thereon at the sole expense, including capital improvements such as roof, furnace replacements, all that sort of thing. And that's one reason why we basically spent about a third of what we had saved up or invested. Because in the last two years, 2.5 years, we put $75,000 into our roof. And the problem is, like, we get grants whenever we can. But as far as the roof is concerned, as an example, we had a grant for $50,000. The only problem is with that grant, you have to get the money before you can do any kind of work. Well, when your roof is leaking and the roof tiles are starting to fall down, you can't wait for the grant money to arrive. You have to fix it, you have to fix it now. So instead of having like a $50,000 grant for it, we ended up with nothing. So we had to do that ourselves. The only reason we were able to do it is because we have investments. And so we were able to get a line of credit through Connexus because we have the investments. Their first response was, oh, well, we can't lend you any money, you're a nonprofit organization. Then when I said, well, we've got, X number of investments here, doesn't that count for anything? Then it was, oh, you got investments, okay, no problem, here, we give you a line of credit. Which was great, except they expect us to pay it back, I don't know. Okay, then last point is on page 5, to maintain at its expense during the currency of the within lease policies of insurance pursuant to part 5. And 2 years ago, when we had the problem with the roof, we had to drop about half of our insurance. So we kept the insurance on the building, but the insurance that we had on the board of directors is, somebody had an accident and sued us, we had to drop it because we couldn't pay it. Okay, the next thing I was going to talk about is Cosmo Senior Center, our 2020 budget. And this isn't our actual budget, but it was give you an idea, because one thing that Derek asked for was to have a company come around and check out all of our furnaces, all of our conditioners, all of our, everything else, to see exactly what condition they were in. So if you look, it says replacements of furnaces, $35,520. We have 4 furnaces and air conditioning units in Cosmo. 3 of them have been there since 1990. So they basically said, there is no life in these, like they've outlived their life. To replace those 3, it would be $35,000. Which again, as a nonprofit organization, you can't just pick $35,000 out of the year. Okay, along with that, replacement of windows, $12,998. Well, we do get grants, as many grants as we can from around. And if you look at our financial statements, just about every year, we've gotten with donations and grants, we've got around $30,000 to $40,000. And that money is put into the building. We have redone the kitchen completely. We replaced all the buildings in the small hall completely. We changed all of our lighting into LEDs. And we've done some changing in the electrical system. So now we can actually plug in 2 coffee pots without it blowing the circuit. Okay, 2020 budget requests. We've got the budget, the total budget, the highlights of it. Building maintenance, what we would like to get would be $5,314 for maintenance for our salary for our maintenance person, $15,750. Building insurance, $1,906. Utilities, $16,500, which comes to a total of $39,470.40. Okay, secondly, we would really like to renegotiate, if I can say, the maintenance and the repairs on the building itself. If that would be possible, when we talked to Derek, he said, and none of us knew it, but there is a program through City Hall where City Hall will pay for part of the or the costs. The problem is, if we put in $5,000, the city will pay $5,000. We put in 10, the city will pay 10. While when things are going great, if we would have known about this, we would have been able to put money in. But now, at the state we're in now, there's no way we could afford to put $5,000 in there. So we don't get any money out of that premises. Okay, benefits provided to the community at large. Okay, things that we do for the community all around Moose Jaw, not just Moose Jaw City itself, but the entire area around. We provide weddings. We've had 300 seating weddings in our hall. We've had people that say, "Oh man, we never thought we'd ever get a hall that big that we could have that many people who are wedding." We also do card tournaments such as bridge, crib, canasta, military whist. The last military whist tournament we had 96 players in it. They came from Moose Jaw, they come from Lost Bank, they come from Weyburn, they come from Davidson, they come from Chaplin. They come from all the surrounding area. Okay, bridge tournaments as well. We get players from Regina, from Assiniboine, from Davidson, Moose Jaw. We also do birthday celebrations. We have wedding anniversaries, football wine and award nights, dances. People come from Regina, Assiniboine, Weyburn, Chaplin, Moss Bank, all over the country to come to a dance. Personally, I don't understand that, but they seem to enjoy themselves. They get up and they dance all night long. They hardly ever sit down.
Hey, Mr. Cobb, if you could just wrap up.
Okay.
With about a minute, that'd be appreciated.
Okay. Okay, our financial history, you've got the income statements from 1916 on. Basically, last year, our rentals brought in over $30,000. Since 1915, or 2015, if you look at the charts, we brought in over $30,000 from the rentals of our hall every year. We've also had over $30,000 in grants that we've found, and $5,000 to $7,000 of donations from people. So when you look at our budget, if you look at those, you can see where our money comes from. And if you look at the expenses, you can see where our money is going. And the vast majority of it is from repairs to the building, from utilities, that sort of thing. So hopefully, you'll see fit to give us some money so we can continue serving the community. There's also 6 letters in here, or in your packages, from the people that rent from us. They're all letters explaining to you exactly what those rentals mean to them, what our hall means to them. They range from a dance teacher who teaches low-income children. She says the only reason she can do it is because of the price that we let her have in place. Community art, the community players, they've got a really good letter explaining exactly what that hall means to them. Okay?
Okay, thank you very much for your presentation, Mr. Cobb. Is there questions of the council? I guess just one question to finish with the administration, because in our package it says that the request is 0, but does administration have those numbers that?
No, it's for the,
I guess question of administration. The numbers that were spoken in the presentation, did we capture that? You did that, okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate your presentation.
thank you.
So the next delegation in the queue is the cultural center. We have representative. You step forward and state your name and get 10 minutes.
Hello, my name is Derek Cronin. I'm the Executive Director at the Moose Jaw Cultural Center. I want to start by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to address City Council and explain the benefits that we bring to this community and discuss the budget for 2020. I've been in this position in the Moose Jaw Cultural Center for the past 2 years, starting November of 2017. And I just want to highlight a few of the accomplishments that we've had over the past 2 years. First off, I'm going to start like we start most of our board meetings with our mission statement, which is to present, foster, and reflect the broadest possible arts and cultural needs of the people of Moose Jaw and area. And how do we do this? We do this by providing tours of the May Wilson Theater to schools or anyone else in the community that's interested, free of charge, including educational ones to do with the lighting, audio, consoles. We put on workshops throughout the year, painting workshops, pottery workshops, something that kind of fell by the wayside in 2017, but we started to work on it more in 2018 and, 2019, and we are looking to expand on it in 2020. In addition to this, we also put on exhibitions in the Mosaic Art Gallery. Over the past 2 years, we've put on 18 exhibitions in the Mosaic Art Gallery. And also I wanted to mention that the art gallery is provided free of charge to anyone in the city that wishes to stop by and view. In addition to that, we have the Mary Wilson Theater, in which we present concerts, and we've had a very successful past couple of years when it comes to the concerts that have happened at the Mary Wilson Theater, including 2 back-to-back sold-out shows from Burton Cummings in 2018. And I'm just going to pause there for a moment and talk about the fact that we've hosted more than 100 events in the May Wilson Theater each year for the past 3 years, or sorry, past 2 years while I've been there, including concerts, musicals, plays, dance recitals, festivals, galas, and much more. We just finished setup for the Rob Nash project, which is a project that is an immersive concert experience that engages young people through the power of music and storytelling, addressing topics of mental health such as depression, anxiety, self-harm, addiction, bullying, and suicide ideation. The Rob Nash project has reached out to the local schools and schools in rural communities, and over the next 4 days we'll be presenting their show to 1,300 students. Through the funding received from the city, we're able to work with organizations such as the Rob Nash Project, as well as local schools, local artists, and nonprofit organizations in order to provide a venue for the community at a discounted rate. The Moose Jaw Cultural Center is a third-party organization which receives annual funding from the city of Moose Jaw. It is governed by a board of directors who follow a governance model. The organization is run by myself, the executive director, who is responsible for the day-to-day operations of the facility. In addition to myself, we have the business manager, Gail Hetherington, who works closely with me to ensure that day-to-day operations flow as smoothly as possible. And in addition to that, she is also responsible for our bookkeeping. On the front of house side, we have Janice Foley, who is our box office attendant, and we have a team of volunteers that are coordinated by Betty Ann Chalmers, who has been volunteering for the Moose Jaw Cultural Center since the inception in 2004. On the production side of things, Eric LaFrance does 2 jobs for us. 10 hours a week, he's the production manager who I speak to and work with in order to determine what's needed for technical personnel for each production. And he's also our head audio technician. And finally, operation of this wouldn't be possible without the dedication of our many volunteers who show up every night we have a show and put in on average about 80 hours a night at the theater. The Moose Jaw Cultural Center is not only the home of the Mae Wilson Theater and the Mosaic Art Gallery, it is also home to a wide assortment of spaces with various functions that provide artists in all disciplines a place to work, educate, and present, as well as perform. With 3 studios located on the second floor that are currently occupied by tenants, the Muck Pie Girls, the Saskatchewan Festival of Words, and our 2 artists in residence. We also have 3 rooms that are rented out on daily basis for the purpose of workshops, music lessons, meetings, seminars, and conventions. They are also used as dressing rooms and rehearsal spaces for larger productions that have outgrown the existing dressing rooms. These rooms are regularly rented to local organizations including the Saskatchewan Festival of Words, Dwarf City School of Dance, Sing Like a Star, Turning the Leaf, Moose Jaw Gamers in the City of Moose Jaw, and many more. 2018 and 2019 have been the most successful years to date for the Mae Wilson Theater. In 2019, the Mae Wilson Theater housed 77 ticketed events, and of these events, 12 sold out. In addition to the ticketed events hosted, we hosted 35 non-ticketed events, including school band concerts, Saskatchewan Music Festival, Moose Jaw Band and Choral Festival, graduations, as well as weddings. Highlights for the 2019 season include sold-out shows from the Stampeders, Rumors, The Ultimate Fleetwood Mac Tribute, 2 sold-out shows by Red Green, and 3 sold-out performances from Young Cause Music. I just want to talk for a brief second about the gross ticket sales for the theater. Oftentimes we look at our net ticket sales for the events that we are presenting. I wanted to show this number here because this is the number of events, including rentals, that we put on each year at the theater and the ticket sales for them. In 2017, we saw $226,831 in ticket sales. In 2018, we had $431,083 in ticket sales. And in 2019, year to date, we've seen $554,363 in ticket sales. And this is just a brief graph showing from 2011 where we were at, and it gives you kind of an idea of the ticket sales and how over the past 2 years, basically from 2017, we've seen a massive increase in ticket sales. And it's also worth mentioning that 2016 had an increase in ticket sales, but a large part of that was due to the fact that it was the 100th anniversary of the Mae Wilson Theater, and we were given a large number of additional grants and funding in order to put those shows on. In 2017, the Moose Jaw Cultural Center went through a period of restructuring. Following this, the board of directors assumed control of the management of the Moose Jaw Cultural Center while looking to hire a new executive director. As a result, 2017 was a very difficult financial year for the center. In November 2017, I was hired on as the executive director of the facility. At the time, there was very little programming scheduled in the year. I was quickly able to expand on the programming of the facility, and as a result, 2018 was, at its time, the most successful year we've had. 2019 is on pace to be even more successful than 2019 was. However, the impact of canceled shows in September has been felt immensely. That being said, we are still on track to meet the budgeted ticket sales of $50,000 for our presented shows, as we are currently sitting at $44,001 in ticket sales with 2 more presented shows. With regard to our 2020 budget proposal, there are a few items that are worth mentioning. We have increased our projected ticket sales from $50,000 to $125,000, which might seem extreme. However, it's due to some shows that we have already booked and confirmed and we are not able to announce at this time. They will be announced in the near future. It is definitely an attainable goal for us in 2020. Directly correlating with this comes an increase in projected fees to performers from $50,000 to $80,000, which is needed in order to be able to complete these shows. The rehearsal room income was reduced from $2,500 to $0 on the budget that was given to council previously. At the time that this budget was submitted, we did not have a tenant that was renting the rehearsal room, and the previous amount of $2,500 was based on a previous tenant occupying that room 365 days a year. At this time, we have Sing Like the Star as a new addition. They are renting the rehearsal room on Wednesday nights in order to put on a singing and piano lessons. Another thing worth noting is that bank charges were increased from $9,000 to $15,000. Again, this is due to the anticipated increase in ticket sales, and therefore we will have additional bank charges.
Mr. Cronin, before that.
Future goals, through the partnership with the organization Saskatchewan Arts Councils, we were able to present 6 shows in 2018 and 8 shows in 2019-2021. We're looking to expand on this and provide educational workshops within schools in partnership with other local nonprofit organizations. And I'm pleased to announce that Arts Fest is once again back up and running, so we have that as an option for funding. We missed it immensely in the past few years because of the grant matching that they do. Sponsorship matching. But we will definitely be taking advantage of that for the next year. And in terms of challenges, one of the biggest struggles we have is limited staff. Limited staff kind of contributes to a lot of the other challenges that we have, including getting funding and getting grants, because we do have a limited amount of time to do it. The other thing that was touched on previously when I spoke to City Council, and that was the equipment reserve. The equipment reserve was not updated adequately under previous management. And this year we've done a complete overhaul and it's changed quotes for all items that were on the large equipment reserve. And as a result, we're projecting that the equipment reserve contribution will be significantly higher than last year. And in closing, I just want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to do this. And I don't want to end this on a negative note, but I do believe that 2020 will be the most successful year that we've had to date. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Cronin. Any questions? Mayor Colby.
I'll just make one comment. Thank you very much for your presentation. Very impressed with seeing the gross ticket sales almost over doubling in the last 2 years. I do appreciate that. And to leave us hanging without letting us know what the announcements are. Very.
I'm trying to get them announced before Christmas.
Yeah, okay. Let me know.
Thank you, Councilor Warren. Well, I don't really have a question. I just wanted to congratulate Mr. Cronin on the work that he's done at the Cultural Center. I've been the rep on that board and it has been challenging. I'm going to add a couple more years to that, probably 5 years, 4 to 5 years. And the previous board and the current board have done a lot of work. And honestly, it kudos to the volunteer and the limited staff there for what they've done in the last 2 years. Bringing the ticket sales up is impressive. Mr. Cronin has a very large passion for what he's doing over there and believes in the city and the community and has out-of-the-box thinking for what he's bringing to the city. And so I just want to commend you for the work that you're doing there. And the numbers are impressive, to say the least.
Councilor Swanson.
Thank you. I'm just wondering, I know it's followed by the wayside, but formerly there was a partnership with Casino Regina, and we sponsored. It started out strong and kind of petered out. I'm just wondering if there's any hope for a revival of that partnership.
I can't speak for them, but from my previous attempts at reaching out to them, I don't believe there is. One of the things that I didn't get to touch on just because of time is the fact that one of the biggest challenges I've faced as we started to grow and as we started to bring larger acts is the fact that we are now directly competing with Casino Regina when it comes to the performers that we're bringing here. Along with that comes radius clauses that kind of get put into the contract so that if they're performing there, they're not able to perform at our theater here. So I think there is a bit of a rivalry there and competition.
Councilor Cruz.
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Coleman, I just wanted to commend you and your fellow board members here tonight on success that you've had in the past couple of years, and to also just to remember personal appreciation to the diversity of the different groups that you've had in. It's really refreshing, and I think it touches on lots of different demographics, and also kind of challenges us too to think outside the box and go try something new, maybe something we've never heard of. I also just wanted to note that you have a really good lineup coming up here for the Christmas holidays. If you wanted to plug that, now would be a good time to do that for people wanting to tickets, and maybe maybe even a couple of really good holiday performances coming up too. So,
Yeah, for sure. We have Sean Majumder coming up on November the 28th. Tickets have sold quite well for that one. From this hour is 22 minutes, a very well known and respected comedian. I would like to mention 4x4, but it's basically sold out. We only have 4 tickets left for that. That's a Christmas show that's coming. But from the creators of 4x4, we also have Yesterday Once More, which will be coming next April, actually. It was just announced the other day. So that one's coming from the creators of 4x4. And we have Jeffrey Straker coming up December the 7th as well, which is a holiday themed show. That's one of the ones I mentioned that we're competing directly with Casino Regina on, because it's been their thing for years, and Jeffrey Straker's team approached me about bringing it to his show here. And so far we've seen a great turnout so far we've seen a great level of support for it in the community, and we always put on great shows.
yeah, it's been a great holidays. So congratulations.
Councilor Glenn.
Thank you. Not sure if this is a question to you or possibly to the administration, but in reviewing a number of the third-party requests, significant cost to each organization is the cost of insurance. In the city, and most of these are in city buildings, so the city maintains the physical plant insurance, and so I'm assuming then insurance costs are liability insurance and directors take insurance. I'm just wondering if there's any possibility that we could pool all those costs. Like, it seems odd that we have to continually pay for each organization and wouldn't be able to get some type of pooled insurance costs for some of that and then reduce some of these costs. I'm just wondering if anyone has ever looked at that or if that's a possibility. I'm not certainly an insurance expert, but it jumps out at me quite often, that insurance number, and for just a simple liability, it seems like a lot of costs.
We can take a look and, as you know, we're working towards our RFP. I think what's important is these are third parties that are getting source on behalf.
Slide down, just I have a camera right here.
Their operational board, so they make it their.
Camera was straight to the top of your head.
More so, risk management on our behalf and on.
Yeah, I think, I just wondered if the third-party groups as a group could possibly purchase, instead of individually for us, to make a blanket cost for them, divided amongst the number of directors. I had no idea. They would take a look at it or talk to our folks and see if there's something that can be done to reduce that burden on the bit.
Yeah, we'll certainly check, and I don't know if there's economy to scale on liability insurance, but we'll certainly try to find out. Good idea.
We'll see no other speakers, so Mr. Cronin, thank you very much for the presentation. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, our delegation in the queue is from the Perkins. Do we have any representatives from that? Please approach the podium and say your name and
Good evening, I'm Jennifer McCurry, I'm the Director of Creator for the Stones in Art Gallery. I'm very pleased to present on behalf of our board. Founded in 1966, the Moose Jaw Museum and Art Gallery operates in a state-of-the-art facility with over 8,000 square feet of exhibition spaces in the art gallery and museum, with climate-controlled art and artifact vaults and well-designed public spaces for reception, public and education programs. We annually welcome approximately 30,000 visitors with 18,000 people participating in programming, which includes 10,000 overall participants in our school and community programs, and 8,000 visitors attending our traveling exhibitions. We are governed by a volunteer policy governance board, elected each year by the membership with 10 current members, and a majority of them are here tonight to support its stiff member plan. As the legal authority for Moose Jaw Art Museum Incorporated, the board of directors are responsible for the effective governance of the organization in developing policies, determining its vision and strategic objectives, and assessing our organizational and financial stability. Committees of the board include nominations, personnel, finance and audit, fundraising, and art acquisition committees. A new Indigenous Advisory Committee has been organized as a committee external to the board of directors and will provide consultation on Indigenous content and programs together from the collection. There are 4 full-time employees, which include myself, Director Curator, Ross Melanson, Operations Manager, Vincent Bouchon, the Administrative Assistant, and Vivian Barber, Preparator, and 7 part-time employees, which include our Education Coordinator, Christy Schreiber, Derek, our Office Assistant, Mark Barrett, our Gift Shop Manager, and 2 gallery readers, Brittany Wilkinson and Zelensky. Our vision is to be recognized as the primary forum for making art, culture, and local history accessible, relevant, and inspiring to the community of Moose Jaw and surrounding area. Our mandate is to share opportunities for education, exploration, and inspiration to the visual arts and Moose Jaw living history. Supporting our mandate and vision, our significant activities are to present innovative exhibitions of history and art that reflects the history of our city and surrounding area and the art of our region, province, and country. Our exhibitions are developed to engage and to be relevant to community members to enhance their understanding and appreciation of art, heritage, and contemporary art and history. We offer public programming to encourage access for audiences and our community members of all ages, diversities, and abilities to interact with and foster appreciation of our local history, the visual arts, and the work of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and Canadian artists. These programs include school and community tours of exhibitions, art classes, summer camps, workshops, and presentations. Community art exhibitions, artist talks, curator-led public tours, artist-led workshops, and community art projects where artists engage with the public, and community events such as Park Art. We also offer programs in partnership with other community groups such as Hungary Moose Jaw, Festival of Words, Cultural Center, the Public Library, Moose Jaw Pride, Multicultural Council, Newcomer Welcome Center, WACA, Access, and the Moose Jaw Art Guild. We collect and preserve historic artifacts and art for the city's limited collection. The collection currently houses 5,000 museum artifacts that are significant to Moose Jaw area, 4,500 artworks that are culturally significant to Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and Canada. Works in the collection are regularly featured in exhibitions at the Art Museum and through loans of artworks to other provincial and national galleries. The Art Museum has a category A status in the country, meaning that we uphold the highest museum standards to be able to exhibit works from leading art institutions like the National Gallery of Canada. We are also able to apply for Canadian Cultural Property status for artworks in the permanent collection, which means that they are culturally significant to Canada and are expected to be properly maintained and preserved for Canadian audiences. We organize touring exhibitions provincially and nationally to promote the collection and work of Moose Jaw and Saskatchewan artists throughout the province and beyond its borders. Since 2016, we've organized 3 national tours. The exhibition at Prairie Vernacular, which just started its national tour, features 170 artworks from 35 collections, including the city, by 75 artists from the Prairie provinces. We produce exhibition publications which provide broader access to our exhibitions and preserves the work of the gallery and artists for future research. We pursue opportunities for community members to experience public art in the city as a means of connecting contemporary art with our citizens' everyday experience and a means of public outreach. We've had a contractual agreement with the city since 1995 in which the city authorizes the art museum to assume the management, control, and operation of the building and all activities carried therein, and the art museum agrees to perform all functions necessary to operate the facility as a cultural center. Employees of the art museum are hired and managed at its own expense and are retained as employees of the art museum and not as employees of the city. The city agrees to provide the art museum with annual funding for the calendar year, as well as arrange and pay for utilities to the building, provide property insurance, and supply janitorial services, including building security and grounds maintenance. The city's Park and Recreation Department is responsible for maintenance or repair of the art museum building and its equipment. The art museum will maintain an equipment reserve account with the city for the replacement of office and program equipment at the art museum. The art museum accepts on behalf of the city donations of art and museum artifacts and maintains and preserves these objects. The art museum maintains an acquisition reserve fund with the state and expends the annual interest income generated by the reserve fund for purposes of acquiring art and artifacts for the collection. All art and artifacts acquired by the art museum board will remain the property of the city. The art museum will annually provide the city with a list of objects or exhibits included in the permit collection and travel exhibition. In terms of the board of directors, one director is a member of the city council, and the remaining directors are elected by the members for the membership of the art museum. Our 2020 budget request. In 2020, we are requesting an increase of 2% from the previous year's funding in the amount of $137,496. City funds are not designated to particular budget lines, but go towards our overall operational expenses. With this funding request, we project to receive grant and funding revenues of just over $478,000, including grants from the Canada Council, Canadian Heritage, the Saskatchewan Arts Board, Saskatchewan and Canadian Missions Funds. With self-generated revenues of just under $124,000, we'll have a revenue total of just over $602,500. We are projecting that our expenses will amount to just over $594,000 plus our contribution to the equipment reserve fund of $7,750 for a total of just over $602,500 for a balanced budget. Our previous financial history has resulted in modest deficits of $284 in 2018 and just under $7,000 in 2017. These deficits are the result of operating expenses going up while grant funding from our funding bodies, Canada Council, the Arts Board, and South Culture are staying at status quo, which means that we're not keeping up with inflation. Every year that we don't get an increase, it results in a decrease. These status quo numbers do not reflect how our organization or our grant applications are scoring with the funding bodies, as feedback from Canada Council and the Arts Board confirm that we receive quite the rankings in the province and in the country. We are receiving increases due to limited funds available. This is one of our major challenges, with our core funding remaining near the same level for a number of years. It's been an increasing challenge to be able to maintain and increase our levels of programming with these funds going up. Sponsorships have been helpful in allowing us to create new outreach programming that take time and human resources to pursue these funding possibilities. Our future goals identified in our strategic plan are to expand outreach, diversity, and inclusivity of the programming. We want to continue to build and strengthen connections with diverse audiences in our community, including the LGBTQ+ community, newcomers, and Indigenous communities. One of our major goals in this respect is to secure funding to contact an Indigenous curator resident, to research their collection, to redesign the Indigenous exhibits in the museum, and enhance the representation of the cultural objects of the Indigenous nations of this region in Treaty 4. We want to increase organizational capacity. Our goal is to secure funding to increase the hours of our education coordinator to full-time so that we can expand our community programming. We want to develop and maintain effective partnerships and relationships with community groups in Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and sister galleries throughout the country to broaden the scope of our programming, share resources, and access to even more diverse audiences. We also want to increase opportunities to connect exhibiting artists with children, youth, and target groups through community art projects and artist building. We benefit the community at large by being a steward of our local history and arts and culture. We are recognized provincially and nationally for our professional standards in promoting, presenting, interpreting, collecting, and preserving the history and art of this region. We contribute to building pride of place and a sense of community by creating opportunities for community members to experience history and art through our programs and partnerships in the city's collections. The Art Museum not only provides a place where community members and visitors can access contemporary art and Moose Jaw's local history, but it can engage in learning through discussion and creative exploration to discover a sense of personal and collective identity and enhance their cultural understanding, critical thinking, and creativity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is great. Any questions? Councilor Rose?
Thank you, Chair. Well, I just want to thank you for that presentation, and I did have a question about the keepsake collection touring. Was that began with the previous curator? Was that the one that was?
It was, she applied for the funding, and before she left Moose Jaw, and so she was the guest curator on it, and so, it was my job to administer, the grant and organize the tour and the exhibition. But yes, Heather Smith, she wrote the essay, so, see, actually, we have, little passages with publications, so you can see them first time.
And I just want to reiterate again for those in the gallery and those at home, something that I didn't know, even though I'm on the board and also tour the art gallery and museum frequently, is that this is a class A, like it is the highest level of art gallery. And it's right here in Moose Jaw. And I think we can sometimes take for granted the talent and the expertise that we have in our city, but that certainly expresses the position that we have in the art gallery within the whole community.
Yes, we're really highly regarded within the arts community of Saskatchewan and in the country. In my previous life, I was an artist, and I wanted to show in Moose Jaw because it's a great place to have on their resume.
Thanks. I think we could almost have a board meeting here tonight. Thank you for coming.
Hey, that's opposed. Seeing no other questions, we could use and appreciate the presentations today and members of the board. Thank you. Okay, next delegation is from the Saskatchewan Berwick Office. That organization.
I'd like to thank council and administration for allowing us to come tonight to talk to you about Berwick Health Center. Berwick Health Center is operated by the Moose Jaw Exhibition Company, not-for-profit company, governed by a board of 12 people. Established in 1884, only the 5 cents interesting, and began its operations where Temple Gardens Mineral Spa is at a corner of Crescent Park. And stayed there until approximately 1923 when the hotel was going to be built. And it was then moved to what's the site of today's Town Country Mall. Stayed there until 1973 when it was moved way out north to where there was nothing. And is there till current day. So you can see a pattern in there. About every 50 years after you move us, that land's worth a lot of money. With the relocation in 1973 to its current site, it also became a year-round operation, where the other locations that basically just operated for 2 events each year. The Exhibition Company hosts approximately 160 days of horse show activity on the grounds, along with approximately 130 days of bookings between the convention center and the Golden Nugget. Berwick Owls became part of the Exhibition Company in 1997 and moved to the old tourism building, which was moved from the #1 site to the exhibition grounds in 2005, where it was completed in 2006. Berwick Owl Center is an important part of the Exhibition Company operation, with the Exhibition Company underwriting Indian Center that aren't raised through countries. At this time, more important than hearing me talk about that, we've got Lori, the Berwick Owl coordinator, and she has Peanut with her, one of our master owls. and she'll tell you about the, yeah.
Thank you for coming. You just state your name for the record.
My name is Lori Johnson, and as George was saying, I am the coordinator of the Burrowing Allen Children's Center. And I have been in that position for about 11 years now. And I have the most wonderful job because I get to work with these amazing little kids. And I get to do an outreach program, an education program to help spread the word about these little guys to future generations and to wildlife enthusiasts and interested people from all over. So the Burrowing Owl Center has been part of the exhibition company for quite a few years now. But we came about as kind of a cooperative program between the Moose Jaw Exhibition Company, Nature Saskatchewan, and the Saskatchewan Environment Resource Management Program. And that partnership came about because right here in the city of Moose Jaw, we were lucky enough to have several small populations of burrowing owls using various locations around the city as nesting sites. And these little guys were listed as an endangered species in 1995. So, that cooperative partnership between these programs, although it came about as kind of, a reason to spread the word about an endangered species, it also came about in order to help protect and conserve not only the burrowing owls, but their prairie habitat. So the center is lucky enough to have a small group of captive burrowing owls to help augment our educational program. These guys help us make a very vital connection to the community at large. And although our main focus is, of course, on children or school-age groups, we visit with all walks of life, all age groups, and these little guys help us make that connection. And it's not only important for the burrowing owls, in that we're not going to be able to protect what we don't know about, what we don't care about. But it's also, vital for community involvement. And I feel very lucky that we're able to do that with these little guys. And just to be able to continue to do it, we need more community involvement. So that's why we came out today, to help spread the word, give you guys an opportunity to actually see these little guys and maybe answer some questions that anybody might have.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Watson. Do you have any questions? Councilor Rose?
Thank you, Chair. Just wondering, Ms. Johnson, how many do you have under your care right now?
Currently, we have 9 burrowing owls, 3 of which have been hand raised for our educational program. So Peanut is just one of those 3. The remaining are what we consider a wild group of owls.
And so what happens to those, the wild ones that they introduced to that?
Actually, these little guys will spend their life, their natural life with us at the center as part of our captive population. Usually due to some injury that they've received in the wild and they can't be released, or because they are part of other breeding programs that have been retired from those programs. We've actually received quite a few retired breeding owls from the Manitoba Burrowing Owl Recovery Program. So, not only do we work with the owls within our own province, but we do a lot of work with owls outside of the province as well.
So we should have the retirements.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Councilor Rose? Councilor Swanson?
Thank you. I just wondering if you could tell us how many people visited the Burrowing Owl Center in the last calendar year.
Right. We kind of keep track of both in-house visitors and outreach program numbers. So we are only doing in-house visits from the May long weekend to the September long weekend. And that's what we consider our tourist season. And we typically see anywhere between 4,000 and 6,000 people. We are a little bit dependent on the weather and stuff like that. That's typically what we will see during the in-house season. And then the outreach program, which we run year-round, and we'll actually go out and visit with schools, seniors groups, nature organizations, and we will see anywhere between 6,000 and 8,000 people.
April?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think you pointed out something that's very important that should be shared. You talked about community involvement, and really tonight, maybe this hasn't been stressed enough, and it's unfortunate that a few people have left already. But that's the whole point of us talking about the budgets. It's not just a line item. We're here to build a community, and it's not just roads and sewers and water lines. It's about building a healthy community and showing off, whether it's the art center, the multicultural center, the Burrowing Owls. And so I just wanted to say thank you very much for your presentations. I'm glad you didn't bring any horses, Mr. Fowler. We saw what happened.
Yeah.
It's been caught on film.
He left his mark.
Well, that's good luck. But, that's what I'd like to say. I mean, this is part of a community, and that's what we're building here, and that's what we're trying to preserve. And so we're giving different organizations an opportunity to share about what you mean in our community. And it's not just a dollar value, it's about what you bring to the quality of life. So thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
I just have one question.
You want to laugh?
I just had a question, just out of curiosity, up where I live in Sunnydale at Blue Sage and Calypso, there's a sign that says Burrowing Owls. So I was curious, I had asked about that in the past, I don't know, I guess truly understood what the answer was, but I guess could you elaborate on that? That's like.
Yeah, historically, that's one of the locations where there were a few nesting pairs of burrowing owls before a lot of the, the residential houses went up around that area. So that's why it was marked. I don't know the exact date of when the last sighting was, but it would have been around 2000, I believe, was probably the last sighting up there. The last sighting of a wild growing owl in the city limits of Moose Jaw was 2007, and it was actually up at the exhibition grounds.
Okay, appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a Burrowing Owl crossing.
No.
Okay, thank you very much. Mr. Fellow, just with that.
Well, just put it okay if we're right down so you can see it up close.
Yeah, what was that?
So he is actually 4 years old now. He's hatched right at the center of Moose Jaw. Oh, hi there. And he's been doing the educational programming since he was about a year old. So he's probably seen probably more kids than I have, actually. And we find that these guys just really help make such a connection, not only with kids, but with everybody they meet. They're a little less intimidating than a lot of the larger birds of prey, a little bit easier to handle. And they do have some really unique characteristics that a lot of people find quite interesting.
Well, Lori's going around there. They usually, when she wants to raise one to take out like this, they have to be taken at about 5 days old, 6 days old, and then they would become her child for the next year. They would go home with her every night and become acclimatized to being around the humans.
World's largest burrowing owl.
Well, I figured he might pull on the heartstrings and not just the purse strings. He is, yeah, he's a pretty good boy. For the most part.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Fowler and Ms. Johnson, for your presentation. Seeing no other questions, certainly appreciate you guys bringing forward everything that you do and special guests as well. Yeah, very well. Okay, next delegation in the queue is the Moose Jaw Airport Authority. The representative. Let's see. Good evening, folks. If you get this first podium, just let us know your name for the record. You have 10 minutes to present.
And good evening, I'm Greg Simpson, Chair of the Moose Airport Authority, and Jared Johnson, who's the Vice Chair for the Moose Airport Authority. Good evening, Mayor Zolmi and councilors and administration. We're pleased to present to you the 2020 budget for the Airport Authority. We did have a spreadsheet sent out to you. So make sure I have a copy. I know it's not on the screen, but okay. So I'm just gonna really keep my comments brief tonight. I know you're having a long goal and budget process, but I just wanted to highlight some of the points here. The business plan you're already familiar with, and that's still basically in place. The white paper was presented, and therefore the budget is very similar to 2019 as a result. So the highlights are the revenues for the hangars are 59,946. The land rent is 86,130. The city will contribute an additional $30,000 per year, which was matched by the Moose Jaw. So that's a nice doubling of $30,000. The airport expansion is shovel ready, and I'm pleased to say that the application is currently sitting waiting at the minister's office in Ottawa. The delay was due to the election. The rate was dropped, and the minister responsible for rural and northern communities infrastructure stream was not able to approve the funds during the election. So right now they're currently signing new ministers in Ottawa, and that minister will be briefed on the cloud. And so really, the difficult for me making more comments on that because it's in the minister's hands. With respect to users fees, they will be implemented this next year. We assigned fuel tax will be added to all fuel purchases as an airport improvement fee. It'll be applied, we do it fairly, and it'll be linear in the sense that if you burn a little bit of fuel, it'll be a small amount of user fee, and if you burn a lot of field, and just have that more contributions to the airport. So those who are using the most, we pay the most. And our primary goal will be to add sufficient runway length to enable business aircraft to safely land at the airport, driving up economic output at the airport, supporting current businesses in the city and the surrounding region, attracting new businesses to the city, and ultimately jobs. Our primary goal will be to continue with good governance, good snow removal and maintenance of the airport asset that's been given to us to steward, safe operations as well are on our agenda. So with that, I'm going to pause and let you look at the budget we submitted and be prepared to have certain questions.
Mr. Simpson. Do you have any questions? Yeah, I'm not seeing any, so I did have a question. Thank you. So, Mr. Simpson, you did talk about some of the economic drivers with the, the improvements to the airport and the expansion and things like that. One of this, I had heard a story a while ago about just the usage in terms of a medical ambulance.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could just highlight some of the success, I guess some of the usage that you may have seen when it comes to, I guess, medical emergencies or some sort of.
Right. So I don't have an actual record tonight of how many times airport ambulance has been cutting this last year. I can say though that because of the governance and the priority put on snow removal, in other words, we had mandated that the airport would be clear of snow within 24 hours of any major snow event. And also, should air ambulance require to be flown in, that the airport manager would avail themselves for immediate removal of snow. We did get a good report from air ambulance. They said that of all the years that they've been operating the airport, this is the first year that they had successfully, flying on all of the missions that were required in the city. So that's significant. When you think about the value of lives, what that brings, I think for everyone here concerned, a high priority is for the air ambulance to be available for people to have emergency access to healthcare that is usually flown to places like Saskatoon. I do know that there was one instance this last year where I was asked what the status of the airport was, and it was a parent that wanted to donate to the airport authority because they were not aware of how significant the air ambulance service was. They were of the opinion that the helicopter service that would be coming in to the airport would be all needed, but in this case, when there was head trauma involved, it had to be a fixed wing aircraft to get that child to the Saskatoon Children's Hospital as quick as possible. And as a result of that, that parent was able to ride in the aircraft, get that child to Saskatoon, and as a result, was able to get the necessary medical attention. So that's one story that I think resonated with me in terms of just how important it is to do that there's supporting that mission of air ambulance.
I'll add as well that statistically, air ambulance has been coming into this Moose Jaw on every 2 weeks approximately. A lot of times during the middle of the night, I come into Moose Jaw doing more. Air ambulance is sitting there, but not taking up. So, well, we don't, like Greg said, we don't have a statistical number for the past year, over the last several years, it's been on average every 2 weeks.
I appreciate that. That was a statistic that I wasn't totally aware of. And now hearing, personally, I've heard some stories about one story of the benefit of that for the air ambulance. I just want to it's further information, so I do appreciate that.
Yes, I could add also, just in this last year, because of the anticipation of the expansions at the airport, there's already been another maintenance shop opened up. So there's a lot of people who are anticipating more activity, more jobs as a result of this happening. So I think the message is out there. People are excited about it, and it will drive not just activity at the airport, but ultimately what we want to see is businesses flying in, supporting ones that are here, obviously, first and foremost, but attracting new businesses to the city and strong in the area. So, that'll be definitely high on our agenda this year.
Okay, thank you very much. Seeing no other questions, so thank you, Mr. Simpson, Mr. Dawson, for your presentation.
Okay, thank you for your time.
All right, we are well ahead of the agenda, which is great. So the organization in a few years, but the Walkwell Valley Ford. Oh, yeah, sorry, I sorry, thanks for not going there. Sorry, Wednesday, Humane Society. We should have Humane Society.
I was just gonna go sit back down.
Sorry, I apologize.
I thought maybe that was me, I thought I couldn't read.
So, yeah, you just please say your name for the record.
I'm Dana Hawkins, from the Moose Jaw Humane Society. The Moose Jaw Humane Society has been a part of the city of Moose Jaw since 1966. And we're currently very proud of the positive relationship that we have with the city of Moose Jaw, and we look forward to continuing on. We have a fee-for-service contract with the city to provide housekeeping services for cats and dogs according to the city bylaws. This includes dogs that are either brought to the shelter as strays by some citizen in the city, or dogs at large that our staff are required to go out and get, or animals, dogs, cats that are seized by animal protection officers or police officers. It's also for cats that are brought to the shelter or seized by those organizations as well. And the shelter is responsible for collecting the appropriate fees from the owners that are coming to reclaim their cats, as set by the city bylaw, including any licensing fees related to unlicensed dogs. If no owner comes forward after 120 hours or 5 days, the shelter accepts the responsibility for that animal, and we do our very best to find them a further home from that point on. We provide any appropriate medical care for the impounded animals in our care, which includes any emergent care that an animal might need. We have cats and dogs both that have been hit by cars. For the cats, the responsibility of that emergent medical care primarily falls on the shelter. For dogs, usually an owner comes forward. Approximately 70% of the dogs that are brought in as strays to the Moose Jaw Humane Society are claimed by their owners, and only 30% of cats. And that number has increased, the 30% has increased by over double since we've started to post the stray cats on our shelter Facebook page. We've noticed a dramatic increase in the number of people who come forward for their cats since we've done that. We also provide monthly records of the dogs and cats that come into the shelter. We try our best to get it for the first week of every month, but it kind of depends on how crazy the shelter is on any given day. We also are responsible to collect any domestic, mostly cats, that happen to be killed by vehicles in the city. That is primarily cats. Every once in a while there's a dog, but it's primarily cats. We hold the bodies at the shelter for a week, giving the owner an opportunity to come forward and identify their animal. If they are not identified, then we do provide humane cremation services for that animal as well. And we have staff available at the shelter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, to be sure that we take those phone calls for any stray dog, injured animal. Christmas morning, we're still there. And we're cleaning up the shelter, we're providing food, and making sure everyone's fed and warm and safe every day of the year. And we will do our best, even on Christmas Day, to go out. If we get a call that there's a dog at large, we'll go out and try to catch that dog and bring it in and reconnect it with its owner. We work closely with the emergency services in our city, and we respond to homes where animals need to be evacuated for many different reasons, and we will house them at the shelter for any length of time that's required. We provide income services for dangerous dog assessments as well, and when we're required, we will go out and search and capture those dogs and bring them back to the Humane Society. Our contract requires us to provide trained and knowledgeable staff to deal with all aspects of animal rescue, care, and welfare. And to facilitate easy access for the public, we request our assistance. We provide access to our on-call staff after hours, like I said, 24/7 through our phone service. We also work closely with Five Hills Health, the city police, the RCMP, and social services to provide care and protection of domestic animals in relation to persons requiring any assistance for their animals. The shelter provides trained staff to issue dog licenses and works closely with Chelsea, actually, at the city. We're on first name basis now. To ensure any licensing violations are dealt with according to bylaws. No dog leaves the shelter without having a valid license. And if any of you watch the monthly stats coming from the shelter, you will have seen a decrease, unfortunately not in the number of cats, but in the number of dogs coming in. And I do think that is in part because over the past 2 years, we have really held a very firm line, no matter what names we get called, to make sure that no dog leaves the shelter without a license. So now if Dawn's dog happens to be picked up running at large and she has her tag on, whoever finds it can give us that number. We can contact Dawn and say, hey, Gigi's here, and she can go and pick the dog up. So we have seen a slight decrease in the number of dogs, and I do think that's because of us making sure that no dog leaves without a valid city license. We do keep a record of all those licenses at the shelter as well. Chelsea tries to keep us updated monthly with any new ones that are sold here at the city. We do the same with the ones that are sold at the shelter. And we work with the community and schools to educate and increase awareness for responsible pet guardianship, including the importance of spaying and neutering and following the city pet bylaws. So we also have clients, a lot of clients come from Moose Jaw Valley for Change, and they come in and do cat therapy at the shelter. They're there probably 2 to 3 times a week. We, in December, are starting to take some pets, probably mostly cats, depending on how rambunctious our dogs are, out to a few of the senior homes, because a lot of those seniors have had to give up a family pet when they are no longer able to live in a home and have to move into a facility, and they miss that, so we want to try to reconnect them with those animals. And as well, many rental properties in the city, Moose Jaw housing included, you are not allowed to have a pet. So keeping our doors open to people in the community to come in and see what we do and to spend time with the pets, take a dog for a walk, cuddle a cat, it still allows them the opportunity to have that connection with an animal while still following the guidelines of not owning a pet on those properties. And we do host a couple of events throughout the year where we really try to involve the community. One is Strut Your Mutt, where you get an opportunity to bring your dog, and we have lots of fun games and different little vendors there for things for your dog. It also gives you an opportunity to go in and have a look at the shelter. We were really lucky last year. We had all the emergency crews were able to come with their vehicles throughout the afternoon. We had bouncy passes for the kids. And then we do also have our Cause for Pledges Radiothon, which seems like I'm promoting that for donate to the shelter, but it also is an opportunity for people to come to the shelter and see what we do every day. And I know that people from Golden West are always so surprised at how chaotic it can be at the shelter, and what you never know what's going to come through our door on any given day. And we are so proud of the positive relationship again that we have with the city. We're looking forward to moving forward with that in years to come. And we welcome any of you to come down to the shelter. You won't be really impressed with how pretty the building is, but I hope you're impressed with how clean it is and how happy the animals are that are in our care.
Thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Does it say a table for furry friends?
We did not bring any furry friends. We have a group of mastiffs that were brought into our care that we would still be out on the street trying to get them to come in the building. Or we have a boy named Rugby who might have already broken the computer. And cats don't like car rides. I don't know if any of you knew that. But we would have a crack clinging to our shoulder. It kind of stresses them out, so.
Thank you very much. Hey, thank you. Any questions? Oh, Councilor Rose.
Thank you, Chair. I just wondered, how many pets, like how many dogs, how many cats do you currently have?
Oh, I should have had that stat for you. I had the stat for how many we've had. We've had 765 pets come through our door so far this year. We probably, does anybody know the actual number? We probably have about 5 dogs and 37 cats. Yeah.
Thanks, Councilor Rose. Councilor Reid.
Thanks, just thank you for your presentation. I just want to say I'm so happy that the relationship between the Humane Society and the city has improved so much from whatever year that was. It was
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they're really good. So just really grateful for that and grateful that Council Lee's been able to be there with the board and help facilitate that relationship as well as with our administration.
Yeah, well, it's a very important part of the city, but it's also really important that we do work with the city. We're like best friends with the bylaw officers now, because when some people like to call and complain to us and say that this bylaw officer told them something, and we don't engage in that, we're doing really well with Brian and Shona to make sure that we don't respond to that person anymore until we have spoken to each other to know exactly what was said. And then we move forward. And we've had a lot fewer disgruntled citizens, and
I really appreciate that.
yes.
Councilor.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll reiterate again, since a few years ago when, and Ms. Hawkins and I had this conversation, a couple weeks ago when I made the decision, I said, we need somebody on that board when it was bad, and I volunteered, and I learned a lot about what you guys do there as an organization. But this board has been through quite a bit in the last 3-4 years as well, and have come through it very well, and you guys are doing an excellent job there, and you do offer a great service to the city, one that we cannot live without. Ms. Hawkins is doing a great job there, fundraising, and yeah, 24/7 is I mean, there's no other words to really say the work that you guys do, because it is around the clock. So good job. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. I'm seeing no other speakers, so thank you, Ms. Hawkins.
Well, thanks for inviting us.
The next delegation is from the Waccamaw Valley Authority. You may come up to the podium and state your name for the record and give 10 minutes.
Good evening, I'm Todd Johnson. Good evening, City Council members. On behalf of Waccamaw Valley Board, I'm happy to present this report to you tonight. Waccamaw Valley Authority's role is to manage the land and resources for recreation and for conservation on behalf of the City of Moose Jaw and its citizens. Just wanted to show the diversity natural in all these pictures are in the valley, and just another view. In this picture, Waccamaw Valley, this is the current office that I'm housed in, as well as the sports center. It just moved up a little bit to the left, so it's not quite in the same great views. We have over 500 acres, 20 kilometers of trails, hiking, biking, and running on any of those trails. Picnic areas, 4 playgrounds, recently added 9-hole disc golf course, 10 bridges, and then the eco zone, which is located just off of 7th Avenue. The biggest thing, people are the key for Waccamaw Valley to be successful. We have 3 office staff, 1 caretaker that's seasonal, 3 mosaic farm seasonal staff, 3 campground seasonal staff, 7 maintenance that are seasonal as well, 11 board members, and numerous volunteers that support the organization. It's not always a bed of roses, and the top 3 pictures show this spring during runoff we had a tilt of a low-level crossing bridge, and currently those culverts have been taken out. An engineering plan has been developed, and as soon as the water flow slows down, that engineering plan will be put into action. The 2016 government funding cut still is being developed. In 2016, we had 11 seasonal maintenance workers. This year, we have 7. Same amount of work. One of the other things in the valley that happened this year is 38 Dutch elm disease trees were removed for Waccamaw Valley. In our organization, everything else kind of had to be put on hold for 2 weeks to remove these trees. So all the other duties just kind of got shuffled. It's a huge, all of our resources going to it, and all the gentlemen work on that. We have a very diverse facilities, some of them for just summer use, some for all seasons. Cars Park, Kiwanis, Kinsman, Claxton Lake, McKay Gardens, Lions Park, the River Park Campground, and of course, where our office is housed in the Sports Center. Quite the variety of playgrounds for them, all different ages and participation. Rotary, Kinsman, Wellesley, Kiwanis River Park, and Connors Park. In Connors Park this year, a bathroom trailer was put in there, fully operational, and in Kinsman, Wellesley, we'll have another washroom trailer in there. That'll be operational this spring. Fun for all seasons, and if you take a look at these pictures and just take a deep breath, it will honestly decrease your blood pressure, I'm sure. Waccamaw Valley has a couple lines of business, River Park Campground, and then the Sportsman Center Hall and Pavilion. Some of it, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, some of those are able to be rented all season, and some you could rent in the winter, but it would be comfortable. So. Our partnerships are really important, and the pictures on the right kind of show the different projects that we work on. Without these partnerships, most of our projects would take quite a bit longer and take quite a bit more money. We have financial support, we have people support, and then also materials in any one of these projects. We have great relationships with all those companies, and all those teams bring something different to the table. For numbers, in 2019-2020, our private event numbers for weddings and family reunions would be about 15,000. Waccamaw events, our Winter Fest, wagon rides, 14, almost 15. Public events such as car shows, corporate association events, 52, and campgrounds right around 3,500. For last year, our private events were wedding 16, almost 17,000. Our craft shows and Winter Fest again, all a little bit over 2,000. For our charity runs and walks, 8,500, and then campground 3,000. In chatting with the owners of the Burger Cabin, in both of those years, between the month of April and August, they estimate 26,000 patrons visit their business each year. Waccamaw does not have just one front door, and there's many ways to get into the park. 4th, 7th, 9th, there's lots of ways to get in there. So the problem for us in giving you a complete picture of the amount of people that use the park is that we don't actually have turn cycles at any one of those entrances. So we'd be looking to partner with the city on any way that we could try and figure out a closer number. Some of the successes this year, last year, or this summer was the first time we ran this junior naturalist program. 8-week program to kids, 280 participated. It was a completely free program to them. Some of them, top left or on the left is our garden where we exposed them to carrots, and some of them have never realized where carrots actually came from, so it was quite enlightening. We did the critter dipping in the center, and then we had a reptile company come in and speak about reptiles. The other success this year was the disc golf course. We added 9 holes. It's in Churchill Park, just off of Wellesley Street. It's been a real surprise. It's actually helped decrease vandalism in that area. In the spring, there was 2 fires in that exact area. And with the amount of people that are participating in the disc golf, they go from sundown to sun up really around. Well, he's busy. But with the amount of people going through there and playing all day, the graffiti is down as well as no longer people just hanging around there. So it's been a real adventure. They're presently out right now, but we hope to put them back in at the beginning of the season, and they'll be in all year long. They hold disc golf tournaments in every season. So it's really exciting for us, and the uptake has been huge. And the best part about it is that it's free, and lots of people can take advantage of it. Once again, thank you for allowing us to present this little part. Is there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Any questions for Council? Councilor Coles?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Johnson, do you still have a snowshoe program?
We do, and that's part of the Winter Fest. So that's actually, those are, disc golf is the same way. You have numerous pairs of snowshoes that people can just come and sign out and then return when they're finished. Disc golf is the same. We actually have rental equipment that they can come out and just sign up and go play the game and bring it back and take it. So yes, we still do have that snowshoe program.
And just one other thing, do you have a little interpretive center kind of in the foyer too?
Yeah, in the foyer of our office as well. So stop in and lots of artifacts.
Yeah, there's some very little things.
There, definitely.
Yeah. Pretty nice one. I like that. Thanks. Great presentation.
Councilor Reed?
Thanks. You talked about the Dutch elm disease, but I was wondering about how much damage, how many trees are damaged by beavers every year. Like I noticed there's trees falling over here, there, and everywhere.
For sure, and the staff chicken wire thing, but it seems that as soon as they put chicken wire around, they just move further down. And we've noticed exactly the same thing, and we try to get to ban them, but with the 500 acres, it's by the time we get there, a couple are already gone. So it's we really depend on visitors or people that are using the park or to let us know. Hey, by the way, did you know that this is going on? Because it's big fun.
And you guys look after walk or Saddle Park also, right? Or is that
No,
that's us?
That's,
Because I know there's a lot of trees down here from the beavers.
I should have brought beaver.
You should.
Next time.
Yeah, and the disc golf, I can play, but I'm sure talked to a lot of people that are playing it, and they're buying their discs, and they've got their little backpacks walking down there, and it's great.
And it's all ages, so it's really actually caught me off guard at how popular it is, but it's really something.
Anyways, thanks for your presentation.
Anything, Councilor Reed? Councilor Swanson?
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, the province recently held a meeting to discuss their process for the disposal of the value center lands. And I arrived late, apologize if they discussed this before I got there, but I know Waccamaw would have some interest in some of those lands. So then maybe just, can you update me what's happening with that, if anything?
For sure. So it would be very much like the city. The city was offered first right of refusal, RM the same way. So we are still in chat, talking about the Eagle Joint that I was just up on that slide there. We've taken care of that part, and had an agreement with the government for a number of years. So we're still in communication with them and trying to set up more meetings to talk about what's that going to look like. Is it going to look like a purchase? Is it going to look like fair market value? Is it going to look, all the options are on the table, so that's kind of where we're at. But we've been approached by them to, first of all, pay fair market value for them. And we're trying to, we have meetings set up to discuss that further. Being a nonprofit, you can understand that. The paying for that land is something that we have to look at very carefully.
That parcel, is it all up top or is it something on below?
It's actually, the second last letter was, some of it would have been up top. The last letter that we signed off with our agreement until the March is just the lower part. Basically where the walkway is, all the way down to almost the entrance of Tyler Park, on the opposite side of Tyler Park.
that differ from what they've shown as the different parcels? Because the one parcel seemed to combine the lower and the top part. So there's been some discussion about breaking that up into smaller parts.
That is exactly the discussion, is would they be willing to break that up into subdivide it, whatever you'd like to break it up. And it is the lower part that we're looking to.
And that's currently owned by the city, floodway.
Yes, yeah, I believe it is.
With minimal value to anyone. Are you getting anywhere with that?
It's been slow. We're optimistic and hopeful that in the negotiations that those would be things that we considered. There's actually nothing. Anyways, you're exactly right. It's a floodplain and a marsh, so with trails going all through it. So. As well as we have docking through there. Walkways.
I noticed also there's a tenth of an acre on the west side of 7th Avenue as a separate parcel. What's happening with that?
Yeah, I believe that is, from my understanding in what the board has said and from talking with board members, is there used to be houses along that side. And so we trailers. And we believe that that's probably the remnants of just someone registering the land and not actually having it sold, and then it must have been given back to the government. So.
Are you contemplating a bid for that?
We're contemplating everything for that whole section. The board seems it's very important, and they put a lot of work into that area. Even since the announcement on Discover Moose Shot, many emails saying how the family goes down there every weekend, and it'd be a shame if it was lost. Lots and lots of emails sent to me with those same concerns.
Thank you.
Seeing other speakers with you, I guess more comment. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the authority has brought in some of these events like the disc golf and the Connors Park Challenge, amenities that we hadn't had in the city before. We had participated in some of these things at other municipalities, and the kids love them, and I'm really happy with what those second blocks brings me amenities in. I'm happy to say that I can still beat my kids in the Connors Park Challenge, but I don't think that's probably not gonna happen for very much longer. So.
Can I make one more comment?
You bet.
We have a fundraiser coming up on December 21st. We're bringing the new one into town, so come if you're interested in the new one. It'll be a fun fundraiser event, and all the funds will be going to our junior nationals program. So please, hope you have some fun.
Thank you very much for being here. Thank you. Okay, so the next delegation would be the Moose Jaw District Senior Association. Any delegations in that group? Welcome. Please say your name for the record and give minutes.
Tavern Region. So good evening, thank you for having us. Now with regard to Moose Jaw District Senior Citizens Association Inc., which, because it's a bit of a mouthful, I'll simply call it the Seniors Association. Now, I'm sure none of you are old enough, none of you are over the age of 50, so this won't apply to you just yet, but it will at some point. And so it's important that we take some recognition of our seniors associations and the value that they provide to our community. Here are the young guys supposed to know how all this technology works. So with regards to our discussion this evening, as requested, I will go over the Moose Jaw Seniors Association, what it provides to our community, a summary of the contractual agreements, and it can be a little bit confusing, so I'll take that one slowly. We've got a financial history of the organization, future goals and challenges that they face, and the 2020 budget requests and highlights. With regard to the Moose Jaw Seniors Association itself, its mission is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the social, physical, and mental well-being of our community seniors aged 50 and over. So the organization itself was actually started in part by the city of Moose Jaw itself, along with a couple of other organizations, including Moose Jaw Housing Authority, Moose Jaw Nonprofit Housing Corporation, and the Senior Citizens in Action Now. So this is an organization that at its heart has the city of Moose Jaw as one of its founding members, and so it's important that we continue that tradition into the future. It's located in the Timothy Eaton Gardens, right along Main Street, providing a central hub to senior citizens within the community and giving them easy access not only to the Timothy Eaton Gardens and the amenities that it provides, but also easy access to all of the other downtown activities and a central location for them to organize. The Moose Jaw Seniors Association is set on improving the quality of life for seniors, providing them with a senior center with a multitude of programs, functions, services, and friendship. So what are all of those things that it provides? Assistance is a big one. There are volunteer drivers, there's financial information available to seniors learning how to collect various forms of government rebates and subsidies, Canada pension, disabilities as becomes more common as you develop in age, getting advice. And that can be advice of all sorts of different things. Sometimes it's advice on which hearing aid to purchase. Sometimes it's advice on which lawyer to go to for a will. Sometimes it's advice on where to go, where to walk outside that isn't going to have slippery surfaces. I know Rockham's did that. Socializing is a fantastic element, especially for single seniors. And single seniors become more often, you've got widowers and widows who end up with their social group aging out, passing away, and so they have nobody to talk to. And so the senior center, the Timothy Eaton Gardens, they know that they can go to a place like that in order to be able to have good conversations with like-minded individuals, other people that are sharing their same experience. I know my law partner who passed away a couple of years ago, he always said, make sure to have a group of friends that are about 10 years younger than you are. And that way, when all of your peers are passing away, you still actually have some people to talk to. And so that's something that Timothy Eaton Gardens provides. Get a bit of more of a humor. Now, along with that, we've got nutrition. Affordable and healthy food are these days not so intertwined. Oftentimes when you're trying to eat healthy, it becomes difficult, it becomes expensive. Many seniors have a very tight budget. And so in order for them to get both their healthy food at an affordable rate, Timothy Eaton Gardens is one of the places that they can rely on. Being able to get a quality meal like roast beef and Yorkshire pudding for only $11, that's something that you cannot get in other locations. Fitness is a big one for seniors. Most seniors that I know don't feel comfortable going to Dirk's Fitness or one of the powerlifting gyms. That's not really their scene. And so being able to go to a location that has other people of similar fitness levels, similar challenges that they're facing, and being able to work out and exercise judgment-free, that's important. And being able to compete and share in exercise classes with people of a similar age is another important one. If you're 65 years old, you don't necessarily want to be playing soccer with all the 20-year-olds. And so pickleball, I know, has been soaring in popularity at the Timothy Eaton Gardens. And one of the benefits of being able to play pickleball with a bunch of other seniors is that everybody's going to be more or less at the same level. Although now they're starting to even have to divide the leagues because you've got your 55-year-olds playing pickleball and then you've got your 75-year-olds playing pickleball, and they move at a little bit different speeds. So they've got tons of different physical activities that they're working on, about 2 per day, whether it be the gym, exercise classes, yoga, pickleball, shuffleboard, dances, and so many other things. That is not a comprehensive list. As well, on the mental stimulation side, that is not a comprehensive list. They've got cards, tournaments, bingo, knitting lessons, all sorts of other skill development lessons. And that is something very important for seniors. In order to stave off dementia, Alzheimer's, and other mentally degenerative diseases, learning new skills, socializing, getting out into a community, those are all very important. And so at the end of this, of course, the Seniors Association is going to be asking for some money. And it's important that we consider the short-term investments versus the long-term gains. And so ensuring that we have both a physically active and mentally, cognitively functioning senior community within our organization, that helps to maintain a lot of savings in the future for our community. And lastly, just in regard to other benefits that the Seniors Association provides, there are tons of things I had no idea about when I first got involved with the organization and helping them out. They've got an on-site spa, gift shop, lounge. They've had university living library partnerships and other sorts of partnerships, craft shows, bake sales, catering, and so much more. They have tons of different things that they're doing in that space, and they're putting it to really good use. So with regard to the contractual agreements that they have, I've broken it up into 2 separate slides. There's 5 organizations that are involved in the Timothy Eaton Gardens building. So we've got a condo corporation that owns the building itself, and it's got 2 unit owners. Unit 1 is the first floor and the basement, and that's owned by the city of Moose Jaw. And then we've got Unit 2, which is the 2nd and 3rd floors, and those are owned by the Moose Jaw Nonprofit Housing Corporation, not to be confused with the Moose Jaw Housing Authority. So unit owners 1 and 2, as the condo corporation, contracted with the Housing Authority to manage Timothy Eaton Gardens. And so that was put in place in 1991, at the same time that the city of Moose Jaw is leasing the first floor and the basement to the Moose Jaw Seniors Association. So that's where the Moose Jaw Seniors come into play. In 1991, when this whole organization and this whole structure was being developed, we had a lease between the city of Moose Jaw and the Seniors Association for that first floor and for the basement. That was done in 1991. The lease was updated in 2002 with very few amendments, and it was meant to be updated sometime around 2012, 2013. That just fell through the cracks. Nobody ever bothered to get it done. And it wasn't much of an issue for quite a long time until about 2015, 2016, when some of the circumstances financially have started to change. And we'll go into that a bit later. So with the lease as between the city of Moose Jaw and the seniors bear all of the obligations that the city of Moose Jaw would normally bear. The seniors bear the financial burden, the duties and responsibilities to maintain and repair the first floor and the basement. But the Moose Jaw Housing Authority has all the decision-making authority and has all of the power to decide what gets paid for when, how much is going to be saved for different types of renovations, or whether or not any money will be saved. With certain condo corporations above a certain size, there are reserve funds that are saved up in order to ensure that various large investments, such as a new roof or having to put in new floors, having to make significant structural upgrades, that reserve fund is typical of a building the size of Timothy Eaton Gardens, but to my knowledge, that reserve fund doesn't exist. And so that's part of the reason that the seniors have been paying a lot more recently, is because Timothy Eaton Gardens is an aging building. I've got a note up on the slide that the condo corporation itself is relatively non-existent. That sort of fell through the cracks for a while too. Now that we've had some discussions with the city, it looks like it's back on track and sort of everybody's getting back together and working together to see the situation brought to its fullest potential. So on the financial history side of things, costs have been allocated by the Housing Authority in terms of maintenance and repairs. Those costs have been going up. It's speculative of me, but it's my suspicion that the cost is going up simply because it's an aging building. Things like the elevator are starting to require more maintenance than they did when they were brand new. But unfortunately, at the same time that those costs are going up, funding allocated by various levels of government is decreasing. And so that has resulted in a year-over-year loss by the Seniors Association for the past several years. And at this point, money is really tight and something substantial has to change in the near future. Otherwise, it's going to be a conversation about winding down the organization or which bills are they going to set off to a later date. So if between 2017 and 2019, these are just rough three-year average. The revenues have been about $355,000. The expenses, $395,000, resulting in an annual loss of about $40,000 a year for the past 3 years. Breaking that down into a little bit more detail, the revenue has been consistent. It's gone up, it's gone down a little bit over the years, but recently it's been pretty well level across the board. Meanwhile, the operating expense is dropping. So the seniors are doing more with less. They're spending less money and they're bringing in the same amount of revenue. They are certainly doing their part as an association to make sure that they are tightening their belt and budgeting wisely. But with the administration expenses being consistent as well, and the facility expenses rising, that isn't allowing them to get back to a net zero for profits. So they have found great efficiencies, but those facility expenses, that is something that's beyond their control at this point. It's the Moose Jaw Housing Authority that decides how much needs to get spent on those variety of expenses. And so the seniors are doing the best that they can to pay those expenses. With the 2020 budget request and highlights, without a change, we're projecting a net loss of $32,300. So that's less of a loss than we've seen over the past few years. Again, that's towards the tightening of the belt, trying to find more of those efficiencies. The seniors are optimistic that they're able to find a few more dollars to save, but there are insufficient assets to meet this cost, and the seniors will have to miss payments if nothing gets done. So we've come up with two options. There's the simple option, and so that's just a flat $50,000. If we have $50,000 that the seniors are able to allocate, that's going to allow them to hit their budget, and it's going to allow them to start making some of those maintenance upgrades, infrastructure upgrades that they haven't been able to make. So even though the net loss has been about $40,000, that's also with them delaying some of the structural repairs, some of the infrastructure upgrades that have needed to get done for a while, and they've managed to use a little bit of duct tape and stave them off. Now, on the more complex side of things, the city could take back control of the decision-making authority from the Moose Jaw Housing Authority, or it could take back its financial duties and obligations, and perhaps a little bit of its administrative obligations back from the Seniors Association. That would allow the seniors to use the money that they are currently getting and provide the quality services that seniors have come to know and expect from the organization.
Mr. Regent, if you could wrap this up for the
Yep, so I've covered off a little bit of the details on this second slide with regards to the budget request. With regards to future goals and challenges, the big challenge is that if we don't see anything done, this will be the last year. 2020 will be the last year of the Seniors Association. So it's very important that we find a solution to these issues. With a change, we can create a thriving Seniors Association. We can create a thriving seniors community, including new programs to expand the information delivered to seniors, to expand infrastructure upgrades to make the building more energy efficient, and to replace broken furniture and other things that have started to really show their wear. And I'll end just by pointing out that if we don't have a good quality seniors association, there's nothing that seniors like to do more than vote. And with that, are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Hankin, for your presentation. I really appreciate that. Are there any questions from the council?
I'll take that as a compliment at how thorough I've been.
That is true. We do have one. Councilor Crowell.
Chair, so we just recently allocated the $25,000 to the seniors. I was wondering how that fits in with the financial projections.
Yes, so firstly, the seniors are very appreciative of that. That is fantastic in helping them to meet the rest of their 2019 obligations. And that is helping them to meet the rest of their 2019 obligations, and yet they will still end up with a loss at the end of 2019. And so at $25,000 as assistance, it's great, but it isn't quite going to be enough long-term to stave off this downward trend.
Councilor Grant.
Thank you. Your presentation was very thorough, and I was just wondering, I don't believe we got a copy of it, so is that something that Danny could forward to us? Yes. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Councilor Grant. I'm seeing no other speakers, so I appreciate you making the presentations.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay, so the next delegation of you is the Multicultural Council. We have delegations from that. See, so we'll move on to the next. That would be the Moose Jaw River Watershed Steward. And we go up to the podium. State your name for the record and you have minutes.
My name is Carmen Wesley. I sent my presentation earlier. Okay, thank you. So my name is Carmen Wesley. I am the manager of the Moose Jaw River Watershed Stewards. I started with the organization just recently in July of 2019. I relocated from Saskatoon for this position. I have 20 years of experience working in the agri-environmental industry. And I also attended Sask Polytech and received a business certificate. We have 2 staff at our organization right now. Our other staff member is Shelley, and she is an agri-environmental or an environmental engineer, and she's been with our organization since April of 2018. So this is the Moose Jaw River watershed boundary. We have 2 sub-basins within our watershed, the Thunder Creek and the Moose Jaw River basins. So the Thunder Creek and the Moose Jaw River, of course, join in Moose Jaw and then travel north to the Hotel Valley. So we are an environmental charity group, and we protect source water, ground and surface water within our watershed. We educate the public on good environmental practices and bring awareness to current environmental issues. We were created by the Water Security Agency to facilitate drinking water protection. This was a reaction to the waterborne illness outbreaks in Walkerton and North Battleford in 2000 and 2001. We were incorporated in 2006. We are a registered charity. We focus on the first barrier of drinking water protection, which is preventative protection of source waters. This is our source water protection plan. This was created in 2006 at our inception. It is basically a snapshot of the water and environmental conditions in the watershed. It includes strategies for mitigation and targets for us to meet on an annual basis. We basically take a holistic approach to watershed management and look at all aspects of watershed protection and water protection. So I put a list up there, but it includes, flooding, drought protection, wastage, inefficient use, storm waters, fish habitat, noxious weeds. So the objects of our incorporation are to educate and increase the public's understanding of the environment and its importance, and to organize and participate in environmental projects designed to preserve the flora and fauna in the Moose Jaw River watershed. So we have members of our watershed group. Our members pay a membership fee. And so our members are the RMs that are within our watershed boundary, the city of Moose Jaw, and towns and villages within our watershed, any conservation districts or water boards that exist. We have private companies and industry, and we have private citizens as well. We use our membership funds to support our board and our board meetings for outreach and education activities and our communication activities such as newsletters, social media, and keeping up our website. So for 2019-2020, we kind of work on a contract basis. So we get contracts from the Water Security Agency. They give us our main core funding grant, and that's our source water protection grant. And that helps us with community outreach and children's camps, classroom activities, things like that. We have a big project right now starting up in the RM of Bailden, which is just south of the city. And this is to decrease the impact of agriculture runoff on the Moose Jaw River. We also have forage funding where we convert marginal lands to forage cover. We have a project right now where we're looking at small communities within our watershed that don't have treated water. So there's 9 communities. And so we're just looking at the risk that these communities face with their water. And then we're also doing a GIS pilot project with the Arm of Marquis to help use technology to improve their decision making. We have a big contract with the Ministry of Agriculture, and that's to deliver the Canadian Agriculture Partnership Program. And this facilitates the implementation of beneficial management practices, and with their focus on water, climate change, and biodiversity. So this also helps decrease the impact of practices on our source water and helps keep water coming into Moose Jaw cleaner. We do Fish and Wildlife Development Fund. We have a project looking at aquatic invasive species monitoring on the Watson Reservoir. This is a very important contract. It's a small one, but it's important. We are trying to monitor zebra and quagga mussels and make sure that they are not coming into our waterways. They have a very detrimental effect on water treatment plants and infrastructure and biodiversity. I just showed a picture there. In 6 months, the mussels will completely clog a drain pipe. And then finally, Sask Energy, we have an invasive weed education program, and we have worked with the city of Moose Jaw with this program as well. Our RM Availment project is also supported by Environment and Climate Change Canada. And this, again, will help improve the water quality in the Moose Jaw River and its tributaries. And it will also help maintain wetlands in this area, which of course are responsible for groundwater recharge, biodiversity, and water quality protection. So I just wanted to highlight some of the things that we do with the city. So this year we participated in many activities in and around Moose Jaw. One of the things that we love doing is critter dipping at Waccamo Valley Park. So we do kids camps at the park, and the kids just love it. We educate them on water protection, pollution, watersheds, and just identifying water creatures. We also participated in the food farm for Moose Jaw students this year. So this was an ag in the classroom event, and it was for grades 3 to 5 students. And we demonstrated the watershed. We have a watershed demonstration and a water cycle demonstration. And the kids really got a lot out of it. And the kids learned about the water cycle in grade 2. So this was it was a good audience. They understood what we were talking about. Right now we have a poster contest in our watershed. It's for grades 5 to 7 students. There are good prizes for the watershed groups, and then the winner of each watershed goes to a provincial competition where they have a chance to win $1,000. We do a lot of trade shows and awareness activities in and around Moose Jaw. We did a trade show recently where we talked about invasive weeds and just general water protection. We talked a lot about pollution and stormwater drains and how water just, if you wash your car, everything goes directly into the river. So just trying to create awareness in the community. And we also did our watershed model demonstration, which brings a lot of attention. We facilitate weed management, basic weed management in and around Moose Jaw. So every year we go to the Sonnet campground and we collect leafy spurge beetles and we distribute them to people who request them. Invasive weeds are an issue for urban and rural communities. So we just try to help out and raise awareness. We use a North American mapping application called iMap Invasives. And so this year we found some orange hawkweed in the city of Moose Jaw. And this was actually the first instance of orange hawkweed in Saskatchewan. And so we contacted the city about it and worked with the landowner and tried to encourage them to spray it and just told them some recommendations of what they could do with the weed. We use social media a lot to spread the word. So for this year, we advertised the Hazardous Waste Day at Moose Jaw Hound. And we also participated in a repair cafe recently, which was very successful. And these activities just help with landfill management and pollution reduction as a whole. So since I've been here, I've made some connections with the city. I've met with Councillor Warren. I've contacted the engineering department, the Moose Jaw Public Library. We're gonna be on their schedule for fall of 2020. Nature Society, I've been to to a meeting, and I'm going to do a presentation to them in March. And then Waccamo Valley, so Todd Johnson is on our board, and we will collaborate with them and do some activities with them as well. So for the money that we're asking in the Moose Jaw, and we're asking for $10,000, we will use that money to go towards our urban education and outreach program. So this summer, I would like to hire a student or a youth through, a grant program that I will look into in January. And so that person, I would like them to do some school presentations, playground program presentations, and do campground programs. Also work at, do some critter dipping at Waccamo Valley, and then any other presentations around the city that might come up. And as I mentioned before, the public library and the Nature Society are just. And that's it. Are there any questions?
Councilor Coles.
Thanks for the presentation. It's really educational to see what you're accomplishing and doing in this area. I'm just wondering, do you ever do educational or studies or anything along the slumping along the river's shared water system, or?
The slumping?
Yeah, the slumping on the valley.
So I am new to this job, so I'm not quite sure. I don't know in the past. I know in the past that they have done a lot of, they would take boats and go down the river and do sampling and look at the stream bank. We haven't done that in a few years, but it has been one of the activities we've done in the past. I mean, we're open to anything, so yeah, it could be something we could look into, for sure.
Thanks for the presentation as well.
Councilor Coles. Councilor Moody.
Just a quick question for you, Councilor. Thank you for the presentation, very informative. This might be long, and I don't want to drag this out, but I'd be interested to know what inefficient water use is. When you brought that up in your presentation, you said you educate about inefficient water use. I would be very interested to know what some examples are.
Yeah, I guess I don't, I'm just trying to think of inefficient water use. I guess we just try to teach, like when I say we're holistic about water, we just try to teach people that water is, it's a precious resource and it's something we have to care for. And so it's teaching them just about, that water, we have to just be careful with, be careful about pollution, and we have to manage our use of water. So I'm sorry, I don't have a particular example, but that's kind of what I mean by holistic. We try to just talk about water in general.
Thank you. It was very informative. Thank you for being
Thank you, Councilor Moody. Seeing no other speakers, I have a question just around the noxious weeds. So how does that affect the watershed? And specifically the hawk.
The orange hawk.
Yeah, how does that affect the watershed?
Well, invasive weeds, I mean, they're hard to control, right? Like leafy spurge is a good example. It's, it doesn't matter how much you spray, how much you manage, how many sheep you bring in, how many beetles. It's always something that you have to be on top of. So I guess I just show that example in that, we try to work when we find things like that. We try to work with other organizations to make sure that they are recognized and that we try to educate people on trying to manage invasive weeds. Sask Energy, we asked them to come speak at some of our presentations when we're working in the agriculture community. So people are aware that when you're doing maintenance of the land or doing a construction project, for example, that weeds are something that you have to be aware of, and that there are practices to help contain them.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure what the hawk, but one of my former jobs, I think it was a salt cedar shade, or salt cedar. And I mean, it's invasive because they can dry up water lines, if you have water that you sign up, and so.
They use
Left
a lot of
unchecked,
water.
they damage to water sources. So I'm assuming that the other,
Yeah, I mean, we talk about noxious weeds in riparian areas, but I mean, noxious weeds are everywhere. And if they're, you know, if the orange hawkweeds in the parking lot in Moose Jaw, eventually, if no one does anything about it, eventually it's gonna spread into riparian areas and areas where you don't want them. And salt cedar is a good example. I mean, it drinks a lot of water and then it turns its environment saline. And so prevents other plants from establishing. And plants are very good at that. They change their environment to make it nice for themselves and not nice for others.
If you're seeing no other speakers, so appreciate you coming tonight. You are our last delegation, so I appreciate you with the presentation.
Thank you.
So I think we do need a motion for all these delegations to the budget deliberations. Pardon me? Yeah, that's what we need. You're for the deliberations, all those in favor? That's carried. So we have a whole base report as follows.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. We have a motion that is moved by Councilor Pro, seconded by Councilor Eby, that the report of the committee of the whole be taken as read, received, and adopted. Call for all those in favor. That is carried. The next regular meeting of City Council is scheduled for Monday, November 25th. The next special meeting of City Council is scheduled for Wednesday, November 22nd, 2019. With that, Councilors, we are adjourned.